Hitting go live now.
Please do.
There we go. I've hit it.
You press
We're
the
going
button.
Hitting go live now.
Please do. I guess I'm listening to us because I just heard us say go live now. Yes! There we are.
I have a white line on the bottom of my window too. I just noticed that. It's weird.
Oh, I thought that was still the bounding box of the. Look how many pixels you've got. Okay, cool. I can fix that. Yeah, I fixed it. Sorry, I thought that was. OBS is trying to be clever by showing you like. I'm like, nah, don't show me pixels. Yes. Hello, Stuart.
Hello, Samuel. Hello, everyone, one and all.
Yes. Very important in this equation, you guys.
Welcome back to another Drunkyards retrospective. Looking at season 3 of Lower Decks. We're going to talk about it. See if we can determine which is our favorite episode. See if we can be good with our scores and see how they match up. So it'll be fun. It'll be a fun one. And we want you guys to participate, of course, as always. You guys kind of determine with your super chats how much we drink and how fun this can be.
Yeah, we certainly enjoy the more I'll say more honest review after a few beers or whatever, but the more liquid courage review. No, it's near that. I don't know, just a different sort of review. Different sort of review. And so you might have seen that a few minutes ago. I released the trailer for an up and coming film called Time Heist. As a fan production. I will not share it because the music will be copyrighted soon. But it is the reveal that Trekyards is actually going Vija. We're doing a Vija film. As long as we get funding, we want to do it, but it's not always up to us. Just like Super Chat, it's not always up to us. Just briefly pimp the thumbnail.
And Dave Duncan is here. I was just on his podcast.
Ha!
He says, I have a drink recipe for Drunkyards from your friends at Synthaholics.
Ha!
The Spore drink, which is, he said, the best thing that came out of Discovery.
Yeah.
2 ounces of Everclear, 4 ounces of UV Blue Vodka, 4 ounces of Island Punch Pucker, 4 ounces of white rum, 4 ounces of 2-to-1 simple syrup, double the sugar to water when made, and dash of silver edible hurl dust. Ooh.
Have you had said drink?
I have not.
I mean,
not
the
yet.
person putting the thing in sounds.
Oh, he has. It definitely looks, with the dash of silver edible pearl dust, I can just imagine. It looks like the mycelial chamber.
Yeah. It sounds very involved. Just like my fan film. Support Indiegogo today. You can find it very easily. Time Heist with Finding Vija. Defiant and Vija Enterprise. No, for realsies. What do you think of the trailer, Stuart, when you saw it? Because you saw it a bit early.
It was great. As always, all your stuff is great. But it's really cool to see the Refit Enterprise and the Defiant together.
Or the Refit Enterprise at all. Because we never see it in films.
That's true.
In fan films. So yeah, support today. We need the support. So Indiegogo, Trekyards 2022 to get this film made. Because this one's one of the more expensive ones. We will fly people in and such. So it's costs a bit of money. We want to make it. So right, let's find the thumbnail again of this one. Yes, people drinking drinks again. But I'll go share this now. I'll see you in a minute.
All right. That leaves me to talk to you guys and say hit that like button and participate. Super chat if you're able to. Join the channel if you're able to. Join us on Patreon if you're able to. If you're so inclined. PayPal. If you want to send PayPal, it's at trekyards@hotmail.com. Sergeant Montgomery gifted 1 Trekyards membership to we don't know who yet. Eric Sween was gifted a membership. So Eric Sween was gifted membership by Sergeant Montgomery. Thank you so much, Sergeant Montgomery. Yeah. Ozzy Maderos, $5. Let's do the Foley maneuver. Okie dokie. That sounds like a 10-to-1 ratio of booze to mixer. Wow. Well, it's a mycelial drink. It's supposed to get effed up on mushrooms, I guess. Does sound good, though. Oh my goodness. Starting off with a bang here with Matt gifting 5 memberships as well. We'll read all this stuff when Samuel gets back because I'm sure he'll be excited to hear this. So, all right. Looking forward to this discussion. Hopefully you guys are as well. Like I said, participate any way you can. Super chat, join us. We really appreciate it. We want to hear your thoughts also. So fed up by people at the parties. The party said it tasted like blue Jolly Ranchers. Hey, that's nothing bad about that, but it's one I want to try for sure, man. When I come down and visit, or when you come up and visit, I think that'd be awesome. So we're just waiting for Sam to get back from sharing this around, and hopefully we have a good time. I've got my Smirnoff Seltzer. This is pink lemonade, which is a vodka drink. I've also got a peach one here, peach lemonade. And for shots, if we get some good super chats, I got the original Cabot Trail maple cream, which is maple cream flavored shot. So I don't know if I should be mixing vodka with maple cream. That could be interesting. But anyway. So yeah. And David says, hell yeah, it's a fun one to make. Yeah, go check out Synthaholics podcast. They're on YouTube. They don't do it live on YouTube. David, pitch where your podcast is. I was just literally on there live like an hour ago. So it was fun discussion. Nice meeting Brian too. It was pretty good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to joining you guys again. And thank you for joining us here at the Drunkyards retrospective, because yeah, and Samuel, I guess, doesn't realize that the picture is not the right size for the window, but that's okay. He's writing a novel apparently. He does this a lot. He like answers emails and stuff on the live. Anyhow, hey Chuck, how's it going? Matt is here. Good. Hopefully you can stay for this one, Matt. You don't have to take off to the girlfriend's place or anything. Vodka and maple cream. Call it a white Canadian. Yeah.
Hello. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's also really hot in England. Don't know if it's extra hot where you are.
It was really nice today. It's been cold for the last 2 days, but today's really nice. I could be out driving the Camaro right now, but instead I'm here.
It's 18 degrees at the end of October.
Yeah, it's 15 degrees here.
I mean, it should be like 12. Like, it's warm, and with rendering, it's actually too warm. Like, it's probably 21 in my office. I have to put the aircon on. It's crazy. But hi, Stuart.
Hi. So Ozzy throws in $5. Let's do the Foley maneuver. Okie dokie. Sergeant Montgomery gifted 1 membership. So we have 6 new members, actually. Sergeant Montgomery gifted 1 to Eric Sween, so thank you.
Good for Eric.
And Matt Boardman gifted 5 Trekyards memberships.
Fancy.
So welcome Michael Williams, Damian Howe, Captain Casey Stewart, Greg G. Hopkins, and Kaishan Mel to the channel.
Kaishan is here?
No, not Kaishan.
Oh.
Kaishan.
Kaishan is a celebrity in the Trek world, you know.
Yeah, no. SBS Guru 2000 throws in €10. Something I realized with that last episode, especially, they easily could have set the show on the frontline exploratory ship, like the Enterprise or Voyager, but they chose an engineering support ship. That's part of the whole purpose of the show, hence the name Lower Decks.
It's also really part of the fun that they are very much unable to be the best. So when they deal with situations too much, when they overcome the obstacles, it feels more impressive versus the Enterprise, which we love to death, but you expect them to deal with these big things. You know, this ship, 3 AI-controlled tiny ships was enough to basically defeat everything, because they're in a low... I'm sure other space stations, not Douglas, would be able to deal with more threats. I don't know why Sovereign couldn't deal with them. That's a weird... I think they should pick a different ship. Oh, that should have been the Hood.
Ooh, there you go.
That would have made more sense and been harsher. I know that John says for a reason, but like thematically, a low-end ship definitely couldn't... that's annoying. Anyway.
SPS Guru
Done.
2000 throws in €10. Lower Decks isn't just referring to the ensigns, but the Cerritos itself and all of the Cali-class ships.
Yes.
They're the lower decks of Starfleet, so
Yes.
even if the characters rank up, the title still works. Yeah, even the captain is like lower decks of Starfleet. So,
But she wants
100%.
to leave. She keeps trying to get a better ship. Which actually made more sense that in the episode when they deal with the dreams and nightmares, I get why she's more pissed off at the guy now, because who's a super young ensign, because she's trying to get off the Cerritos, at least she was the previous seasons, and yet Ransom said, oh, he's on his way to a Galaxy class, and he's clearly at least 30 years younger than her, and it's like she's thinking, well, hell, how have I been screwed my career to be on a Cali in my 60s, and he's on a Cali in his 30s about to hit her. So thanks for making me think of that. And thanks for the comment, Chuck, on the trailer. Glad you liked it. It was fun to make. So, Stuart, how many did you manage to watch through again? I managed to watch 5.
No, I haven't had a chance.
Yes. It's funny when you suddenly have to re-watch everything for work. It's like, oh, that's 3 hours of my day. Doesn't seem like a lot, but when you have so many things to do, it's like, yep, that's actually a lot of your day. Oops.
Yeah, I haven't had an opportunity, but should fairly be able to remember pretty much what happens.
But we have booze. Booze will help us remember, Stuart. And I have
That's
our
not
scores.
how that works.
So, well, maybe it is. No, it's not. But I have our scores as well, so we can compare and contrast. Pretty interesting batch this time. There was not a single one where we had to use a second number to work out. There's a very distinct numbering order. You were very good you're getting better and better at doing points, which really help. There's like 3 8s. You had 8.7 and 8.6. I'm like, good, yep.
Those weren't in the established guidelines when we started, and you started doing them, and I'm like, okay.
It's the only way to do it, Stuart. It's the only way to do it. So yeah, we're going to read our original scores at the end, compare them to our new scores. So there's a retrospective score, but the real scores are at the time score. That's what we actually thought. But it's interesting to see how these things have blended our memories or not. Which for the TNG stuff's normally quite interesting. Like, oh, it's not what I thought, etc. So yeah, I mean, any overall vibes of the season? Let's start with the generalities.
Well, as I've said a few times, it was kind of a mediocre season when compared to the other 2 seasons of Lower Decks. Definitely the least exciting season. That being said, there's like 3 or 4 episodes which are kind of like, eh. And then there's some fantastic ones that make up for it, like DS9. Boom, awesome episode. The Rutherford one, amazing. These last 2, very good. The first one was quite an interesting lead-off for the season as well. But yeah, there's a few in there, like the eggs that produced the nightmares thing was kind of a weird one. And there were just some ones that were just kind of, all right. Which would have been fine in a season of 20. Like if it was a 20 long episode season, it would have been like, all right, those are the ones you can. But when you only have 10, you only have a certain amount of time. It just seems like telling those stories was a little bit of a. Maybe they shouldn't have. So, yeah, compared to the other 2 seasons, this one was the I don't want to say the worst, because the worst is not a good descriptor. It's the least good of the 3 seasons. Because even, as I've said before, with Lower Decks, even a bad episode of Lower Decks is better than some new Trek. So, and it's still good. I still really like the bad episodes too.
Why you think the season overall wasn't as good in your brain, or just less action, as you said?
Just those couple episodes that were like, why are we doing this? I don't know. It just, there was no like hook in those episodes to really get me excited, and every other one has pretty much had a really cool hook. So
it's more a case of a few were a swing and a miss in your particular interest style, and so no shame, just
exactly, yeah,
hit your fancy so much.
Yeah,
which is almost a testament to how effective they've been other ones, because the fact they can be almost entirely hits. Yeah.
How about you? What do you think about this season overall?
So I got to rewatch 5, and then I skim watched the rest to kind of remember. And it was interesting because the first 3 we reviewed, and I guess they stuck in my brain more. There's the first 3, they're very distinct. And I kept thinking, well, what's next? And I was like, oh yeah, that one. Oh yeah, that one. but I wouldn't have remembered them if I hadn't thought about them. So many of them didn't leave an impression, but the first couple did, because the first one was so good, second one we didn't like as much, and it felt like such a harsh contrast of, And the third one was like, okay, this is a weird choice.
I don't remember 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah.
Like, distinctly. So
the fact that was weird. I think we've unfortunately been so spoiled by quality. It wasn't a gentle ramp up of Lower Decks. It was good. Wow. And then, So this one, going all the way back down into good, when they're not as good, you feel it, because you know they can be better. And that's just ideas don't quite pan out. I think I definitely maintain this season is trying to keep a lower key. You know, it starts with this epic Packlet trial situation, and it ends with this epic multi-ship battle epic thing. In the middle there is action, but it's sort of fleeting. And a spa day. That's no action, which is fine, don't always in action, but it very much felt like we're doing smaller stories to build up all the characters and change where they are to where we want them to be. That kind of came across a little bit rewatching. Not so much Ransom or the Doctor, but the main four all are in different places with their experiences from the first to the last episode. So it still feels like it's shepherding them to season 4. And also world building as well. It's very much the season of we are Lower Decks. We're going to reference Lower Decks. Showing aliens and locations in past episodes, they really stand out. The fact they're almost retreading. They go to many old planets, actually, from many other episodes, which is good. I mean, it's canon, obviously, for the show. That might be also be a cost-saving measure, because why goes, this works thematically here. Let's save money to do other big things, to build up other moments, knowing where to save. But it definitely feels a lot lower key. Not necessarily less ambitious, but I guess the ambition felt less grand and less memorable. Which is weird still, because I watched so many, and yet, that's the feeling I come across. Maybe because the Packers was such a strong hook. Maybe because Mariner being pissed at Mum was such a strong hook. There really isn't a hook this season beyond a day in the life. And that's great for like TNG where there's 26. But for 10, you kind of want them all to be winners.
Exactly. That's what, you've got a limited amount of time here to do these things. So put some of these other plot elements from like 2, 3, or 4, like whatever episodes those were, I can't remember, like I said, and make those B storylines in a more hooky episode. If that makes sense. I think that would have worked. So, but
it is tricky. It's a tricky show because by definition, they shouldn't always be getting into epic situations, and they exactly. An entire episode literally is about them. This other California class crew is basically saying, "You guys are famous because you get into big trouble." That's cool.
China.
Huh? Yeah. Big little space China. Yeah. So the fact that they've already brought themselves into this level of fame is the first 2 seasons. This season, it feels like doing far more California class work, but we're used to them being bigger things. I think if we hadn't have had the Pack-led amazingness at the end of last season, the scope could have stayed less. I was definitely missing a wage douche this week, because clearly that's meant to be their XCOM episode. It's as radical as wage douche, but it doesn't really work in the same way. It's still fun, it's still cool, but it's not even remotely as good as that, and so it's missing the height point as well of that season. So it's almost like a season 6 of TNG. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they don't have to try as hard, but they can just rely on the characters being the characters more without as much of a push, which is weird. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts.
Nice. Well, SVS Guru 2000 throws in 10 euros.
Thank you.
Also, shout out to Starfleet Debris, or SF Debris, who just posted his review of No Small Part, where he called Season 1 of Lower Decks the best first season of Star Trek except for TOS. Would you agree? Yes.
Hands down. Not even a question.
And I'll have my half shot for that $10 one in a second. Threefold Path, $5. I feel like the art graphics took a step forward this season, but the storytelling and character development was not quite as strong. I think the character development was there through all of the episodes, but the storytelling was a little bit more lackadaisical. So
Yeah, animation great. They never go poor. I mean, they do some good stuff.
they're getting better season on season. So
yeah.
SPS Guru 2000 throws in another €10. I actually prefer the show to have more quieter and slower episodes to build up characters. That nonstop action and jokes, it makes the action have more impact and makes the show better, not worse.
So I would agree the way he says it, and
Yeah,
yet
me too.
the way they did those episodes didn't work for me as much.
Yeah. Because we've always said the day-to-day episodes are always like some of our favorite ones, where like nothing major is going on. But for some reason, these just didn't hit with me, a lot of them. So
they didn't miss.
Exactly. They did not miss.
Because I do not need action the whole time. I really don't. I really, really don't. So when... Yeah, but that's the thing, though. A slower episode needs a really fun conceit to work with being in a... Like buffer time, right? That's entirely in ship. It's silly, it's simple, but it's a really super cool idea. Even like when Paris came on board, like having Boimler go through the ship felt really cool, felt really ground. Like those just kind of worked better as being simple non-action stories. And I already have forgotten episodes 4 to 6. Like I'm trying to think, I can't remember. So that's a bad sign.
Yeah, it's a very bad sign. Do you have the episode titles?
I do. Well, I have the thumbnails. So yes, to remind everybody, episode 1 was the Stealing the Cerritos. Episode 2 was the Fixing the Space Elevators / Fall Through Space / Being Hunted. Episode 3 was the Green Orbs of Babe. Babe, do you want to make out, Babe? And Tendi being a bird's protege. Episode 4 is Manuki and the Getting Quarters and Klingon. Episode 5 was Rutherford's backstory and Space Race. Episode 6 was Deep Space Nine. Episode 7 was the bird people fall in love but not really. JK still a villain. Episode 8 was the movie. Episode 9 was Mariners Fired. And Breen. Episode 10 is Pew 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 Don't Trust AI, Cylons are bad.
So the actual titles are Episode 1, Grounded. Episode 2, Least Dangerous Game. Episode 3, Mining the Mind's Mines. Episode 4, Room for Growth. Episode 5...
Reflections.
Why is that not here? Yes, Reflections. There it is.
I have got more.
Episode 6, Hear All, Trust Nothing. Episode 7, A Mathematically Perfect Redemption. Episode 8, Crisis Point 2, Paradoxics. And episode 9, Trusted Sources. Episode 10, The Stars at Night. Yes.
And it's weird because we review these things so hard. Like you do like 4 videos on them. I do 3 videos on them. For not to stand out as much is a bad sign. It's weird.
Yeah, the ones I had completely forgotten about were The Least Dangerous Game with the elevator. Mining the Mind's Mines, which I kind of vaguely remembered. Because it's kind of a weird premise to begin with. Episode 4, Room for Growth, where they're looking for to get to the computer to get the room, the 4 rooms. Just totally gone out of my memory until now that I see it here. Reflections. What is Reflections about?
Reflections is the 2 Rutherfords and the space race.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Rutherford story.
Yeah.
That's really good. Hear All, Trust Nothing. Mathematically Perfect Redemption is just weird for the sake of being weird, and totally kind of a sidestep. Episode 8, Crisis Point 2, Paradoxics. Love that one.
So can you send me the thumbnail on that? Because all I have is a blurry thumbnail that I nicked. If you can send me, that'd be fantastic.
For Mathematically Perfect Redemption?
No, Crisis Point 2, because I didn't know how our scores, that's why I had to find them.
I don't know if I have the thumbnail for it.
You made it.
Yeah, and I sent it to you.
You sent the other PC.
Is it?
And what's funny, though, is that the DS9 episode I forgot about, because in my head that's a DS9 episode. it was so effectively a DS9 episode, I don't even think it was a Low Decks episode. Like, we just listed through them. I didn't mention DS9 once. That's weird. Because it was so DS9ian.
DS9ian?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have that thumbnail anymore. I got rid of it.
Okay, blurry it is.
Blurry's fine.
Oh, unless it's a messenger. It would be a messenger, wouldn't it, surely?
It would be, yep.
Yeah, it would
yep.
have to be. Yeah, okay, cool.
Matt Boardman, $10.
Matt
I appreciate the slower pace of the season. Discovery has spent 4 seasons of being one big spectacle after another, so it was nice to see a more measured approach. And we got from TNG, DS9, and Voyager. Yeah.
But also, wasn't the previous seasons also slowish? Like, I wouldn't call it necessarily a billion times slower than the other ones. I mean, certainly season 1 wasn't non-stop action.
Yeah.
It doesn't help it's our favourite series, which means we have the highest like bar for it. That's not going to help any show, is it? But episode 1 though, Stuart.
Hold on, we got more super chats.
Okay. I nope. Okay.
David Kayer, $5 with no comment. That's a drink.
Well, it's still a comment.
Ervik Sonder, $5. Just watched the Time Heist trailer and V'ger looks awesome. When does it come out?
Well, you got to support the Indiegogo for it to come out because it's a multi-thousand-pound film. So we're looking for £31,000. We're at 3. So put in 50, put in 100, put in whatever you can. It's a film we want to film. We had planned to film before the end of the year because we know our funding. But I mean, if we don't even get a funding to make this, we couldn't even make the film with the funding we have so far. So that's a problem. We did already buy some costumes for it because like they have to arrive in time. But I mean, certainly it's one of the slightly later films because it involves all 3 of our leads, or three of our leads who all need to know each other first. So other films have to happen first. But you'll certainly see stuff from it because it's going to be a really, really, really fun film. I can't wait to shoot it. It's going to be really satisfying. And yeah, to make V'ger was because I'd done V'ger like right at the start of our Trekyards career. If you remember, I did that like Renegades Klingon ship with V'ger like super early. And this, I can do a lot better now, so it was very fun to see. So yeah, support the Indiegogo, Trek Shorts, 2022. We absolutely need the funding because we can't make it without. We want to make it, so people need to put their money where their mouth is. There's the Indiegogo.
Chuck A, $5. Great season of Lower Decks. Your content is great, Stuart and Samuel. I am looking forward to your Prodigy reviews and upcoming videos on more ships. Absolutely, us as well.
Yes.
Hold on, I got to deal with something real quick here. So
okay, episode 1.
Announce number 1. Yeah.
Episode 1, Grounded. This is the part 2 of last year's Packle Planet destroyed. Not Marinette. Captain Freeman up for the crime. She's in prison while she's doing a trial. Mariner entirely strong-headedly must go against that. She checks everybody. She steals the Cerritos after stealing the Phoenix, after breaking into a transporter site, after getting a crew to break the rules, after it's a list of things. She tries to steal the ship from stealing the ship from her friends, gets caught, gets double caught, has to deal with a bug orgy, and we get an epic montage of the mum with epicness with 2 amazing cameos that didn't have to hide the people, amazing cameos, and it all resets at the end of the day. Cerritos is back.
Yes, and it's all the good stuff happens off screen. We get Captain Bateson back doing an undercover
gig. Norman.
Yeah, helping out Freeman. So it was actually quite an interesting one. Seeing Bozeman, Montana was awesome again. Yeah, this one was like a good epic lead into the season. We thought that Freeman, being accused of the bombing might have lasted a little bit longer than that. But I kind of love the way it kind of got wrapped up in that one episode. So yeah, it's a great way to start the season. Really enjoyed this one. Yeah. So now what? Now do we do our new scores? See if we can remember the score.
I say what I thought of it.
I did
in retrospect,
too.
Stuart. I mean, I've got to say what I thought in retrospect because I actually watched it again. So, in retrospect,
There you go.
It's interesting in retrospect because it actually contrasts the end episode very specifically. The fact that Mariner, in every single scene, is 100% gung-ho to save her mum. Every scene says she couldn't do it. She's fighting everyone she knows to do it. In the 9th episode, Mariner's mum says, "Fuck you, Mariner, get off my ship. You betrayed me," even though she's saying I didn't do it. So that shows you how far Mariner's come as I believe in my mum, and how, as you'd said in the episode, how bad the mum is as a character, that she really is still selfish, self-absorbed, career-focused, doesn't care about family as much, because she entirely throws Mariner to the wind, versus Mariner, like, entirely throwing her career away to prove her mum's innocence. To the point of she's actually going to fly in a incapable of battling for a second ship into Klingon territory to find Klingon renegades to find the bomb. Like, the amount of drive is so astounding and so strong for her that it feels sadder now, knowing the mum would not do that for her, did not do that for her, and actually refused to believe her. So it's interesting that the two strong contrast points.
Mm. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Mm-hmm. It's one of a bookend of the season. Yeah.
Yeah. It's also weird to see them be entirely out of uniform the whole episode. It is obviously Star Trek 3. It's still disappointing how quick the wrap up was. I really would have preferred episode 2 to not exist, and them to like warp away and do something cool and come back. I don't know how they wouldn't have functionally worked, obviously, the frame of the season, but like to have a dual parter with that vibe would have been really, really cool. I think they kind of lead up, like the bounciness of I'm gonna go deal with Klingons and done. So okay.
Well, I agree with Threefold Path here. This had a really nice ending with them actually showing Starfleet to be smart and figuring out what actually happened. Yes, instead of corrupt and dark and yeah. And that's said like a couple times in the episode as well. Trust Starfleet, trust the process.
Well, it's said the entire time, and it comes across even more. It's Mariner is reacting because she likes Starfleet, but she doesn't, I guess, trust Starfleet. So by the end of the season, she trusts the system more, despite being thrown out of the system. Or I guess she appreciates it more. But it's good. Now, it also does create the expectation of legacies. We did get a legacy every episode until the last 2. Which we didn't get any. I guess all the budget went to them. It was great to see Cochrane. I still loved Gavin. Hopefully he'll come back at some point. Phoenix is still emotionally amazing. The logic of Tendi never went anywhere besides San Francisco because she's too busy. I like that, and it links better to her work ethic to go up the ranks on the Cerritos, because she always plays more the ditzy character who's just had to be a nurse, but she's already being pushed heavily in a different direction. This works better because she's very focused, and the fact that the other thing, she takes charge at the end. She Mariner, who's breaking apart, doesn't know what to do. She ended her tether, and she steps up and talks the security team out. That's a nice foreshadow to her later being more in command. So that they knew where they were going, and they're laying in things in that one as well.
Nice. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah.
But still, I wish. I didn't like the scene where she breaks stuff in her dad's court office. Didn't like that. Although I love seeing Villain Admiral right from the start. I knew that was going to mean something.
One amigo.
But I would have paced it a bit differently and had a few different focuses personally. But that's fine.
Yeah. SPS Guru 2000 throws another $5.
Thank you.
For 5 years. Freeman even filled out the transfer before she even called Mariner into her office. That's how convinced she was of her guilt. Not just her, but everybody on the ship. Calling her a traitor, walking by her saying, "You made us look like losers," or whatever. And even Jennifer, just not even hearing her side of the story before making up her mind. Yeah, it made everybody look bad. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But that's a problem when you get a means to end story. They had to portray her to the next thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so saying all of that, what are you gonna?
8.6.
8.6. Okay. So just this season. things is I know it's one of the best of the season, like hands down. But there's a certain segment of it I'm like, this is not quite as good as it could be. But other stuff is like so on point. I think I'm gonna give it a flat 9, knowing that it's definitely best 4 of the season. Like I don't like it. Yeah, could have been better, but like tiny little things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it's good. All right, take us number 2, Stuart. The one you don't remember.
Yeah, thanks for that. Where the hell is it
I
here?
mean, that's how this normally goes.
Least dangerous game. Oh, this is with Martok, the role playing game thing, which was fantastic. And then we got the space elevator, where Mariner is now being basically mentored by Ransom, and they send Billups and Rutherford down to the planet to enjoy the quality time. They stay up on the station to try to fix it, and Ransom's just giving her a hard time. But she knows that something's going wrong because they're getting transmissions from the surface that things aren't going well, and that Billups has an outie instead of an innie. So she decides to take it in her own hands to do an orbital skydive down to the planet to help them. Ransom says, "Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe we should go help them," because he kind of brushed her off before. And so yeah, she grabs back on, climbs back up the stairs, and Ransom's says, let's go down and help the situation." They go down and save them just in the nick of time from the little baby god and the volcano god, and and yeah, and then on the ship, meanwhile, the whole time Boimler has made this deal with, I forget the guy's name, but really cool alien to basically be hunted,
like Crawl, something like that.
Yeah, Cranch. It's Cranch. And Freeman's like, not on my ship. Oh, wait a minute, you talked to Cranch. Yeah, we had mimosas earlier, and it was great. So it's all good. Anyway, it's just to get a selfie with them, even though Boimler's pretty injured. Yeah, that's all I can remember about the episode. Fairly, I like the Cranch storyline. I wasn't so stoked about the Down on the Planet story. And the fact that Ransom was so blind to just making Mariner suffer that he didn't want to accept the fact that maybe they needed to go help the other officers. That kind of annoyed me a little bit with Ransom, but there you go. Fairly decent episode. Not bad in the grand scheme of things, especially in retrospect. But the space elevator stuff, the fact that they didn't have their own repair crew there from the planet, even though they were watching an instructional video from the inhabitants of the planet on how to fix the thing, just doesn't make a lot of sense. You'd think they'd be able to get them up there somehow. But anyway, yep.
Yippers.
Just made Ransom look bad this episode, honestly, just the way he kind of was drilling into Mariner. Yeah, he's trying to teach her a lesson, but
wait,
kind
he
of ignoring.
He wanted to teach her a lesson?
Yeah, kind of ignoring the actual problem that's going on down on the surface is a little bit short-sighted on his behalf. I'm glad he kind of figured it out, but just ignoring Mariner's suggestions just because it's Mariner. Yeah,
which is the reason why.
Yeah. And again, the Martok stuff was just a lovely little cameo. So, yeah.
And do you want to read out the poll, Stuart?
We've got a pool. Which of the first 2 episodes closes that window? Which of the first 2 episodes did you enjoy the most? Episode 1, Stealing the Cerritos. Episode 2, The Hunt.
So I'm going to do at least 50 votes for each and then close a poll and we'll work out what you guys think. Do a tournament style.
TXR away, £10.
Thank you.
Just saw season finale. Really enjoyed it. Season 3 had a good progression for Rutherford and Tendi. The writers get what makes Trek a thing while having fun. Star Trek Lower Decks puts the live action shows to shame. Also true. I will have a drink in a second.
And that is true. Tendi and Rutherford did get even if it felt rushed for Tendi because they didn't set up in the previous seasons, they got something. Which obviously, yeah, now you say that, yeah, they're like, yeah, we haven't given them enough. Let's give them an entire focus. That works.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Garrett Roughton throws in $1. No comment, but
There you
thank you so much. The support's appreciated. SVS Guru 2000 throws in €5.
Yes.
It says the first time that Mariner actively canceled her going rogue plan, another milestone for the character. Yes. She's shown quite a bit of growth over these 3 seasons. So
yeah. Very commendable.
Yep. Matt Boardman, $5.
Matt Boardman, $5.
Looking at this episode and seeing Ransom's reaction to Mariner wanting to be his shadow in the finale makes that reaction even more hilarious.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah. I'll have some drinks for that.
Now this one's a really interesting one actually, because it's almost just like with a previous episode, with the movie. They're trying to deliberately make part of it boring, right?
Yeah.
Part of the thing is everything on the station is boring and who cares? That's the point. It's meant to be mundane. And then you hard cut to the other side where it's the exact opposite. It's now hardcore action, whatever. So it's interesting. You have the duology. I love the
duality.
Thank you. Yeah. The Mariner reversal is fantastic, super satisfying. The emotion the animators got on her face was excellent. That worked super well. The Klingon stuff, it works better in watching them binge style, because you're like, oh, cameo, who cares? Like, oh, it's cameo. You're not focusing. In a week to week, like, oh, is that it for JG? Versus, oh yeah, cool, he'll be back next season. Like, it plays better as a binge because they're all in the season. But when you're really focusing on it, it's like, oh, is that it? So, it's a weird retrospect better on, but hey, give him points for that. Bold Boimer definitely comes out the season, so it works better now, I think, retrospect. He does genuinely convey this. It isn't a thing. And this episode hugely builds up his connection with Shaq, sorry, I can never say his name, which absolutely now pays off at the end, because I took that as he's trying to suck up to anybody, but he actively says yes to the racquetball, which then gets him yes to the concert, which gets him respect from the guy, which then gets him later respect. So that entirely links in. So that was great. I see that progression beautifully. Tendi, become more of a mum bird. She feels like way more of in control versus him in this episode, even though they're roughly the same age. But now knowing she's sort of been retconned with a huge experience, which obviously does change the vibe a bit, but that's now a thing. So he now feels younger compared to them all. And good that Rutherford was an ensign like 10 years ago at the academy. It means that he's also older, and he's older than we thought, in a low rank. So Boimler is now the youngest and least experienced of all of them. That's kind of retconned in now. So that's interesting as a retrospect. Yeah, the repairing stuff just feels stupid, but it is Ransom being stupid. Like, he admits it, fine. But it's just, like, the chief engineer should know better than to let his superior officer just do that. To order that. It's a nonsensical order, it's a nonsensical result, it's a nonsensical story. As they say, they could have fixed it within like an hour, and obviously Ransom fixed the problem within like 20 minutes. So it's kind of an interesting stay in your lane sort of situation. If you're a specialist in Starfleet, you're good at what you do. This is not just anybody can join, as we've seen in TNG. If that's still the case later on, it's a huge process to get in. And then if you get to high ranking as well, then you've already beaten thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands to a role. Let them do their job. You know?
Yeah, there are 196 branches of science we find out in Prodigy, they're each specific, yeah.
That was fun to have
But you know what's really specific? Is ads. It's time for an ad. There we go. The ad is over now. I'm so sorry.
What a segue.
Right?
I mean, that's top.
It was an ad for a segue, apparently. I don't know.
Well, that'd be fun. So what do you think about some of my points there? 'Cause I can throw a lot at you, but
I agree with every one of them. Ransom just being Ransom for the sake of being Ransom. I don't know. It bothered me a little bit, but it made sense in the context of the character and of what's been going on with Mariner. Love that he did admit his mistake and stuff like that, though. But yeah, sending sending the engineers down was just spiteful for the sake of being spiteful, and I didn't really appreciate it. The fact that they needed help, and he again was just, nope, deal with it. You should be having a good time down there. Was just unnerving to know that's a commander in Starfleet.
Although I do kind of like the resilience of the guys down below. I mean, they're failing horrifically, but they are so committed to try. Actually works nicely, despite them failing miserably as they go. So that kind of works.
It makes sense almost for a commander to push people out of their comfort zone a little bit, just make them better officers, more diversified. But in this instance, I just didn't think it worked. So, SBS Guru 2000, €5. Season 1 Mariner would have told him, "I'm already skydiving down there, you dummy." Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. The fact that she did change her mind and scrambled all the way back up, it says a lot about the character, how far she's come. So yeah, 100%. Let's see here.
So what do you think score-wise? Have we given you some confidence?
Yeah, this one I would probably give a. I want to say 7.4.
Okay.
Yeah, 7.4.
Yeah, for me, this one is a couple of great moments. Like, it's kind of satisfying when Mariner gets to say fuck and it's censored. They say shit a lot and crap a lot, but the F words are quite rare. And the climb wall's fun, but it is definitely of the weaker of the season. I'm trying to think of why I really enjoyed it. I mean, the hunt is lackadaisical. It could have been so much cleverer. I'm going to go down and give it a 7. And that's, I think, it's been a little bit generous, but it doesn't do much bad.
Fuck. I should probably score lower than you.
Yeah.
But 7.4 is what popped into my mind this time. So
yeah, it's not the top. I mean, I know that's not for this. That's not for all the season. That's just this season. Like it's.
Yeah.
But it would not be top 25% of all low decks. It'd be absolutely bottom third, if not lower. Not because it's bad, but it's not great. And 7's still pretty good mark. 7's still like a C plus. Because I like some of the ideas. It's not, when you do a deliberate boredom stuff, that's a problem. Now, it would have been better, because then you could have relied on previous canon, if they had gone to repair a actual race from Star Trek. Then you would have got cool points of recreating a station, an alien. Then you would have gained points. Rather just be generic station. And like I say, like you said, they show the instruction video. Where the hell are the engineers? It's insane. You can shuttle, like, they did shuttle people up and down. So the fact they haven't called the engineers.
Everybody on the elevators was on the Cerritos.
Like they're choosing not to go and get via shuttle one of the engineers. Yeah. There's no reason for that at all. That's a huge plot hole. If you don't include the manual, fine. Or if you'd had them in like technical looking clothes and you said, oh yes, they built it 800 years ago and this is the last document, but they were in the same outfit. So there's some plotting elements here that absolutely let it down. But those are really great ideas, and the jumping sequence works better the third time around, I think, because it's the payoff is stronger. But there you go.
I love the second time she goes down. She's like,
yeah, like that stuff really pays off better the more you watch it. Knowing that she really, legitimately, fully is trying, that stuff pays off better the next time.
Matt Boardman, $2. We need a new Star Trek board game with Martok now. Yes, we do.
And you will eat breakfast! Because he's always got to be on at 100%. No jokes. There you go. Okay, cool. Number 3 is... yes. This one I thought was like episode 6. I was shocked it was so soon. Because these 3 I remembered. I remember loving the first one, not liking the second one, liking the ideas of the third one, but not so much the execution.
Yeah.
Then the rest is kind of a blur. until the end because we just watched it. Episode 3, Mining the Mind's Mine. Mariner's now got a sort of girlfriend, Jen. You see Leah Brahms. You see a space scooter. They are actually a celebrity in the California class world. Legitimately a celebrity. You meet another crew, you meet another captain. You get, as I said earlier, you get to deep dive on Captain Freeman's insecurities of being already in her late 50s, early 60s, and yet only being where she is. Given her husband is an admiral, yes, a lower decks admiral, fine, but still an admiral, so, you know. But, you know, you get some fun dialogue, you get them working together as a team, you get well, now it makes more sense, obviously, but you get the 10D subplot with Dr. Mixamo, great name, as a lot of our teachers, I'm sure, at school, he's reading the lesson before the lesson he teaches to teach the student, and then he has to skip a thing from Spock, and the great line of Tendi saying, "But I want tests," because he's explaining how it's not all about tests, it's about feeling it.
Yes.
And she's like, "Oh, I could just take a test," and then end up being that Tiana's the kind of mentor that she needs. And it turns out that at the end, that the rock guys, the silicon rock monsters, are working with the colonists. Those damn scientists who refuse to join Starfleet are working together to sell memories and secrets to get better stuff and better rocks. That is true. Stuart, any memories or thoughts on this?
This one I was unimpressed with this one. I remember that. It was a great premise, great idea. But the whole them worshiping the Cerritos crew, I kind of liked that. The other crew, but this was just silly for the sake of being silly. The Tendi stuff was all right. The best part of this was the masks, whatever her name was, Manuki, at the beginning, which is like all post.
No, that's episode 4. Or episode 3 still.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's pre-title 4.
Let's see here. Let me open up this other thing. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. There's not much to talk about in this one, in my opinion. Like, the fantasies were interesting. The Tendi stuff was all right. The best part was the other crew, the other Cali class crew, wanting to impress the Cerritos crew. And them misreading that as they just, have no respect for them. I thought that was quite good. Leah Brahms being back was awesome. The little motorcycle from the Admiral on the Admiral was on was good. This is also the Carlsbad guy, Carlsbad captain, and Freeman going at it with the rock. Back and forth, which I thought was kind of petty. I understand how it started, and it was like not intended to be that way, but it just got really out of hand. And then the scientists and the rock people working together, I thought was a good TNG twist. It's something you would have seen in TNG, so that was all right. But Tendi solving the problem the way she did felt weird. It was like missing a scene where she put the 2 and 2 together. I remember that being a real problem. So, yeah, I don't have much else to say about this one, man. I'm sorry. It was a very meh episode for me. I remember that for sure. The fantasies were weird, like the Klingon clowns, bat-left arms, and Jennifer turning into a werewolf, which is Mariner's fear of commitment. That's kind of interesting insight into her character, but still.
It happens. It happens. They can't be winners.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, I like this one mostly, but it's like some of it is gold, some of it is silver, and a whole chunk of it is bronze. I don't think the Tendi stuff even works in retrospect. It's very long. Her segments, they're not quite funny. If Mixamo was Acacian, having to decipher the speech pattern of a whatever his species is called. That would have been great. But we don't know his species necessarily enough to care. Aravic, it's Trekyards 2022. Let me post the link in the chat right now. As Stuart is frozen.
I am not frozen.
He is frozen. There you go.
I am not frozen.
Any patterns?
Neither are you.
I might want to refresh them.
Okay.
Spawn if you can. And you guys are doing great for superchats. Thanks so much. Really making a difference.
Hit like. It's 9 more likes to 50. Come on, guys.
So score-wise, I'll jump first on this one then. This one's tricky.
I got a score. I can give you my score right now.
No, that'll interfere with my score. Effectively. I should probably do my slot, not your slot.
If we have to pause and think of a score, so we have to drink.
That's true. I know, what a shame. Ah! So now it makes me think the 7 was too generous last on episode 2. I think I like him on episode 2, but... Okay, 7.1. No, 7.3. There you go.
6.4 from me.
Oof. Okay. Room for growth.
Oh, yes. This is the 4 rooms available on deck 1. What? Makes no goddamn sense. All right.
I still don't... I should have caught that made no sense from the off.
Yeah, I should have too, and I didn't until like later in the episode, which annoyed me.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway, so Manuki, the opening was like awesome. Yay, Manuki, cool. But then the whole 4 rooms available. They need to get to the dedicated air-gapped computer down in engineering to put only their names in the lottery so that each one of them would get a room. Great idea, great premise. Doesn't seem very Starfleet, but hey. And it turns out beta shift? Or is it delta shift? Delta shift.
Delta.
Yeah. Has this... Well, that was their idea, and Tindy overheard it. And so there's kind of a race, a battle going on around the ship. One's taking maintenance route. The other one is taking... I forget what the other one's taking.
Basically, one's doing Jeffrey's tubes, one's doing like auxiliary corridors. Yeah.
Some of the best parts of this episode were seeing the internal workings of the deflector. That was neat. Shit, I don't even know, man. This was also the one with the spa, if I recall correctly. Where Mariner takes the engineering team all down to the spa, which was probably a more interesting story out of the two. But even it was kind of mediocre. They're all working on their little projects and stuff when they're supposed to be relaxing. Stresses Freeman out to the point where Freeman goes like from green to yellow to red to black on her band and freaks out the people at the spa. And it becomes like an emergency. But the solution for the engineering team was to create a device, which turned their bands green, by the way, to help Freeman out and relax her, essentially. So it solved everybody's problem, and we got to issue these all around Starfleet, and it's like, just throw it out because they don't want to be, sidelined in their only purpose.
Is very much, and I kind of wish they'd mentioned this, a callback to when they made a mockery of the lady who does the training hollows. They undid her job.
Yeah.
This one, nope, we're not.
Yeah.
It will not ruin my career.
Yeah.
So
this one also had the added benefit of having the Tiana and Shax role playing in the holodeck with the Bonnie and Clyde type scenario, which annoyed the shit out of me because that's not how bullets look once they're fired. It's such a trope, and I hate it. I don't know if they did it on purpose or not, but it just annoyed me. We see the Doppler down in the the forgotten Doppler skeleton, and they almost die down there because of lack of oxygen. But Tendi doesn't need oxygen, so, or as much oxygen anyway. What else happened in this one? They get to they run into the Delta Shift. They kind of like different versions of themselves, and they kind of become friends, but then Delta Shift screws them again, and somehow just through that door is the terminal. Delta Shift goes through, but yet somehow our guys still make it to the terminal before they do, when they notice the water's running down the thing.
I had forgotten about that, and I just watched it. Yeah. There's
a lot of stupidity in this one. But we do get to see Tendi and Mariner in their underwear saving Boimler. So we can't go wrong with that, at least.
Yes, we do.
So it's got one or two ups, but mainly this was a disappointing one for me. It was good seeing... what was Lieutenant Eric's species again?
Keishon the Temerian.
No, not the Temerian. No. Lieutenant Eric, Star Trek the Animated Series. Andosian. Yeah. The Andosians with the 3 arms. Yeah, I am. As part of the medical spa thing. So. And that's pretty much it. Find out it was only one room on deck 4 that they were fighting for. Delta Shift wins it, and they share the room. And Rutherford's all pissed off. I'm not stressed out. I just came back from a spa. It's like the only time we see him stressed. Usually he's like, bears.
That is true. Actually.
Okie dokie. Yeah.
Yeah, he's more stressed after relaxing than he is doing engineering.
Yep. Exactly. That's pretty much this in a nutshell. So there you go. That's the summary.
Yeah, this one is.
And the Chair Olivia with Ransom and his churros.
Oh yeah,
that he made into a wife when he was a Neanderthal.
Yeah. This one's a real weird one. It's trying to be a TNG episode, more so I think, with the going through the ducts. Feels very TNG-esque, obviously with the scale of Lower Decks, because you couldn't do it on Voyager's not enough space, so TNG's the only ship that would have that.
Yeah.
It mostly works, and I love the reference to ship getting refitted, and they leave stuff. They don't quite get everything, so there are rooms that don't have doors, that don't have signs, that are old. Like, that's a lovely get out of jail free for future episodes where, I don't know, this room was here. Well, yeah, it was from 6 refits ago and anything's not moved. Cool. Good concept.
Yes.
But the mask visual coming and going in all of a minute is a bit light, although the reference of it keeps happening is funny, I guess. The transformation of the ship, I kind of wish we saw more of that. And the outside would have been fun, but it's okay. The spa is interesting, but it's very long. It doesn't deserve the screen time it gets unless it has harder jokes. For me, it's or if there'd been some famous people at the spa, maybe to kind of add some extra texture. Like, we do get races, we know, and that's great. But it would have been nice if maybe not Quark, but some other famous Voyager or DS9 race person had been there. Because this one's missing a legacy actor. Not that you could have, but Loxana would have been a fun choice to have at the spa and not help them, because she's not going to help them. This one's kind of lacking that for sure, and I like the Andosian a lot, but also she seems too stressed to be there, and that doesn't really pay off.
She smokes.
She does. It's just, but I do like knowing like that's the entire engineering staff. I guess they would have to have a different set on the Cerritos, but you would not have a realistic situation where one duty shift of the Delta and Beta are that tired compared to the other shift. So it would be almost pointless to bring one shift on the holiday and not the other shift, because you're not helping really. Yes, it's chief engineer, fine, that's the main shift, but so that tells me that's the entire engineering staff, which is very light for a ship that big. Especially at the start of the episode, they explicitly call out we're too cramped. So there's a disconnect there. I mean, these are really small things I'm pointing out, but just like in going back and watching, the effect is fantastic. I never liked Delta Squad. They haven't enough character. They're too. I know they're meant to be just caricatures, but they don't work great. Oh, Erevic. Fantastic. Oh, that's it.
Are you done?
Yes, I'm done.
All right. Yeah, this one for me was just very blah. I think I've already expressed that. It's my turn to do the score first, I believe. Yes.
Yes.
5.8. I remember the numbers going like, and I was like, oh, what the fuck are they doing this season? So, yeah, this one. Yeah. Seeing the deflector was cool, though. Gotta say.
Solid 6.
All right.
Number 5. And again, I remember this one being much later as well.
I do too.
But already
This is where it
halfway.
starts to pick up again. This is like climbing the mountain now.
Yeah. Double Rutherford's is his true story. He plays both parts of the entire episode. Fantastic space race, fantastic Aerodex, fantastic Elder Flyer. Super accurate. The reveal of more of why he was undone, although doesn't quite pay off fully at the end, feel-wise. And the B plot is what? My thumbnail only shows one thing. What happened in the rest of the plot?
Scrolling, trying to figure it out. Oh, the recruitment booth.
Oh god, see that's it. That stuff's great, but therefore,
Yeah.
how is it easily forgettable? That's really
Yeah.
weird. It conceptually is so great, and it was great, but oh my gosh. How are we introduced to Petra? So basically, Petra and double dodgy Rutherford both pay off at the end episode from this episode. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
5 episodes pay off. Interesting.
Not much going on in this one, honestly. Okay, for me, yeah, the best part of this episode was the Rutherford stuff. Seeing the Delta Flyer back was amazing. The race was awesome. The Warbird, there's a whole bunch of really cool stuff there. And finding out that Rutherford was kind of an asshole before, I didn't like that, honestly. But it's kind of made up for at the end when he dies, and he's like, "No, you're the one that should survive." You're like, you know. So that was interesting enough. We get that whole twist of Rutherford, and this guy wants to erase his memories, and it's all this elaborate thing, and we're like, where could this go? That was neat, but I mean, the recruitment stuff was kind of fun, like the Spock and Kirk cutout, and seeing the different. Like the Archaeology Guild and the Truthers and all that other stuff was kind of fun, but so easily forgettable for some reason. Because I think the Rutherford story really kind of blew all that other stuff out of the water. And I actually really thought that the recruitment stuff was like in the first, like the second or third episode. I didn't think it was this one. I would never have linked these two together. In all honesty, but meeting Petra Aberdeen was great. I like that character. Glad she came back, and she's not evil.
How do you think the payoff has now been? Now you've seen the entire journey so far.
Underwhelming a little bit, honestly. To both storylines. Her joining Petra for the archaeology stuff was such a quick, like, hey, I just think I want to go back to Starfleet now. Thinking something nefarious was going on, it wasn't. They really did make Petra kind of look like a little bit shifty in this one, though. So, yeah, this is where it started getting better for me, though, this season, just because of the Rutherford stuff. Because honestly, seeing the Delta Flyer and seeing the Voyager-esque type starship race was a nice touch. Like I said, got the wrong little Warbird in there, and it was kind of fun. This is where you score first, by the way.
Although Alan Parr's comment's a good comment.
Probably, possibly late to the party, but it has just occurred to me how much the front of old Rutherford's ship looks like the classic BSG Viper.
It actually really does.
Yeah.
With actually the... If you added the Bassards to the wings, you've always got a Delta Flyer style top.
Yeah.
And there's actually a lot of Delta Flyer in that, if you actually look at it. I never have. Yeah, this one... Frustrating. Both stories are good.
Wait a minute. You gave your score first last time.
Oh, I did, because
I did the recap. Okay, yeah, so.
Stuart, what'd you give episode 5 Reflections?
8.3. Well, I should have been drinking during that because I was thinking.
Okay. So that's a 2.7 point increase, maybe? 2.5 increase, which is a hell of a point scale up. I don't... I can't imagine judges lower than 8.3 back, because both sides were good. But
we really liked it because of what the ones that came previously were kind of like, what the... Why is it going down in quality? So this one was like, good, we're back on the rails again. So
again, this is the problem with sticking in one location. All of the stuff in the booth is the same sort of visuals. That doesn't help make it super dynamic. And if it had been on Deep Space Nine, maybe it would have been more... Because I remember the scenes DS9 way more. I
want to mention one thing that I really liked about this, and that was Boimler's freak out. And
yeah, perfect.
Boimler freaked out, lost his mind, was jumping all over the conspiracy theories booth, destroying it. And Mariner was the one. Yeah, and Mariner was the one that stayed calm, tried to calm him down, stayed at the booth, and Ransom was expecting her to totally be messed up at this point and have a strike against her. He came down. He was super impressed that she was still at the booth, and she had some people signing up. So
yeah, that's true.
A little bit of a role reversal there, and again showing the character growth for Mariner. So
yeah. Matt has some comments about Petra in this episode. I wonder if we're going to see some flashbacks to Petra and Mariner stuff next season, since she got very underused. I'd expect to see more of her given Mariner leaving Starfleet join her, and the huge hint to that in this episode. When you say that, but the entire length of the her and Petra stuff would be the time between the Breen attack, getting back to Earth, which is, okay, quite a few days, that's fine. Then dealing with the Admiral, then going to Douglas, or back to Douglas Station, I should say, then going back to Earth, then back to Douglas Station, then the mission. So you're looking at maybe maximum 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 if you really want to push it to be like stuff happened. So, and he's not necessarily going to find her instantly. So, yeah, we'd only had sort of really a fortnight together. You can do a lot in a fortnight, I'm not saying you can't, just there isn't like Book and Mariner, Shitty Mariner. What's her name? Shitty Mariner?
Oh, Burnham.
Burnham, yeah, thank you. Book and Burnham's story, where that's amazing to flashbacks that didn't do any. This one, I'm going to go with my gut and go higher than I remember, because I know both sides were good. But I didn't rewatch it, so I can't take that against. I'm going to say 8.6, because... Oh, I can't really go. This is 8.5. This is the second best of the season so far, if I was to say. I think you'd agree?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and your scores also reflect that, but I want to be consistent with... I can go away now. I can do 8.6. Okay, cool. Okay, so you do the... Okay, you get to DS9. Cool. DS9 up, Stuart.
All right. So, episode 6. Here,
Hold on. Matt just comments back. Maybe it was longer. Maybe a month, 2 months. Well, like I said, it's just the time to get from Breen attack to Douglas Station, then Captain Douglas Station to Earth. I mean, how long is the guy going to be not going for, look, let's get our ship in the fight? So 2 months seems quite a long time. Yes, it's about to be repaired, but they might have been rushing it to get repaired, don't know. Might be the only ship in dock, don't know. It does take time to travel, but it can't be that long.
Oh, I missed the super chat. SGS Guru 2000, €5. I like that Meglamo and Tiana had basically the same advice for Tendi, but Tiana's was more practical. Yeah. SGS Guru 2000 throws in another €5 and says, "Do you think the showrunners will be brave enough to give us a Year of Hell season where there was basically no humor at all?" A couple episodes, maybe, not a whole season, I don't think. I don't know if Mike would do that for an entire season, but for like a 2 or 3-parter, yeah, I absolutely believe they would. There'd still be humor in it, though, like small little things. So that's my thought on that. And I'll have a drink in just a second. This one.
Yeah. I mean, the show is defined by its overall vibe. They did make a joke in episode 3 about, have we done time travel yet? No, they haven't. So that's certainly coming at some point when they do a time travel one. But I mean, if they remove the humor, it wouldn't be Low Decks anymore. Kind of like if they remove the humor from Orville, it wouldn't be
There was still humor in each Orville episode.
just much, 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 much less.
Yes.
I like the show less because of it.
Wow. I disagree. I think it was.
I know you do. That's fine.
It's stuff that Starfleet wouldn't do. The little jokes that they did. So I thought that was funny. Anyway, all right. So now we're on to Hero Trust Nothing.
Yes. You love DS9, Stuart, so this must.
This is where.
High school.
Yeah, this is the second appearance of One Amigo. He basically tells the Cerritos that the ship that was supposed to go do the thing can't do the thing, so she gets reassigned, and she's all upset because she needs time to prepare for something like this, and so to buy time, they fly around in awe of the pylons. Mariner decides not to go. She's going to stay on the ship and go to a thing with Jen, the candle making thing, the spa, whatever they call it. But they head on over to DS9, and again, Kira, Quark, DS9 as a whole, lots to like here. No real Starfleet presence, so really, there's the Orion guy, but we've learned that Shax and Kira have quite a backstory. They've saved each other multiple times, which is neat. I can't remember what the whole diplomatic thing was, though.
Trade.
Just trade, yeah, with the species we've seen before. Learn about Quarks, his franchising, and yeah, then Tendi meets the Orion security officer, who's like so Orion, it's not even funny. But is he? And he decides to stick with them, even though Tendi doesn't want anything to do with them. She wants to kind of distance herself from the whole Orion thing. He gets himself reassigned to look after them and help them with their duties. I'll cover the really weak side plot with Mariner real quick. She goes to this candle making thing, and the whole time Jen's wanting her to freak out on her friends because she knows Mariner, and Mariner's keeping it cool. She doesn't want to ruin the thing with Jen, so she's kind of being laid back. Ends up phasering everybody, and then themselves. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Going back to the DS9 plot. Why can't I remember the minutia of the conversation in the conference room?
Because they are gonna bring booze.
Yes.
But then they make some sort of mistake. I can't remember. Oh no, because they're insulted that they changed negotiators. But then she says she bullshits them with something else, convinces them to sit down, talk. They talk, goes quite well. She gives them the tour of the station. They say, "Look, you should trade with us because we're a home of trade." And then the guy's like, "They're all knick-knack stores. Like, who the hell cares?" But no, look at Quarks
Franchising.
You can franchise here. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Uh, meanwhile, Tendi and Rutherford take the stuff over to their ship, the other person's ship, with the security guy, and Quark, in the meantime, gets kidnapped because he's using their technology as his replicator, the Quark 2000 or whatever it was. Yep. And so they kidnap him, take him to the ship. Tendi, well, we find out the security guy, all he learned about Orions, because he grew up in Ohio, or I forget where, I think it was Ohio, Indianapolis, I believe. All he knows about Orions is what he learned from novels, and not even really good novels, the one with the boobs on the cover. So he actually doesn't know how to retake the ship or use his key for anything good. He's got this multi-purpose key. Tendi does, though, because her family is a full-on Orion syndicate, and she basically kicks ass.
All of the ass, in fact.
Yeah, pulls out a tooth, saves the ship, gets them back to the station, and yeah, that's it.
That didn't sound thrilling, though. The way you said it, you didn't sound thrilled by it in retrospect.
It's because I'm looking at the screenshots, and it's like, it's hard to follow the story, but it was really good at the time.
Well, what does that say to you now, then?
Nostalgia, man. Nostalgia.
Like I said at the start, I forgot something existed. It's a DS9 episode that has a Lower Decks team. They went super hard on it to the point where I don't even connect them in the same way.
Yeah.
And the entire Mariner thing, honestly, I'll just cut Mariner's subplot. Honestly, like, put Mariner in DS9. Have her do Candlework at DS9. I know she doesn't want to be at DS9, but they could have done the entire thing on DS9 and been fine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it ends with her on DS9, and she obviously knows Kira. Kira knows her. Sure. And then it's the whole reference of the Kira body with the Quark head.
Oh.
And that's how it ends.
And Boimler becomes rich. And then gets a coupon.
Oh, yes. The Dabo King.
I mean, he does show... He's a doofus. He's a goofy doofus. But first episode, he is a very, very capable raisin maker. This episode, he's a very, very capable Dabo winner, which is hard. So he's very capable. If you genuinely link the dots of what he's good at, he is a talented guy. It's just he presents himself not so much.
Yeah. And these guys sabotage the station and the Cerritos by taking out the power systems.
No other ships around DS9.
Yeah. No. So that's about it. There you go.
But what do you think in retrospect? Where would you place in the season vibe-wise now?
It's not a Lower Decks episode, though. It's a DS9 episode, so it would still rank really high. I need to go back and rewatch it. I'm sure if I rewatched it, I would really enjoy it again. But yeah, that walkthrough, just from the stills, it's like I didn't remember the whole conversation about why they were upset, but it was because they changed negotiators and kind of screwed them a bit. And
they told them
Freeman
14
offered them
seconds from DS9.
Yeah.
It's like, right.
Okay. Yeah. And then Freeman offered them all the opportunities in the Alpha Quadrant and the tour. And yeah, that leads to Quark's franchising, which leads to the Quark 2000, which it's a whole like snowball thing. But it's just hard to follow along with because I didn't remember that little minutia, which was weird. So it's my turn to score first, right? Again, this one is relying heavily on nostalgia, but it's not just nostalgia or fan service. It's very much a different feel from Lower Decks almost, because it is like a DS9 episode. We said that at the time. It felt like we just watched a DS9 episode, like a new season or an episode of DS9. And I think that's one of the reasons it's...
And also, I think the fact that really solidifies that is that you actually get two DS9 legacies talking. That's the first time I've had two in a row in the same scene. It's always been like, oh, look, it's the Tom Paris cameo. Oh, it's the JG cameo.
Yeah.
But they're really having conversations, and it feels entirely organic.
And on DS9. So even the environment, the setting is very... So, I forgot I was going to say that for a second, but that's all right. Yeah, the Jen stuff, the Jen and Mariner stuff was all right. didn't need it. Didn't really. I mean, it kind of showed the relationship a little bit. Like Jen knows what to expect of Mariner, which kind of leads to the last episode where she just assumed that Mariner said bad things. But it's kind of sweet that she like, no, I want you to go off on my friends. I don't want you to like. It's sweet that you want to like be nice to my friends. So I'm going to score is a 9.6.
Damn. Right. Well, shit. That's
Oh, it definitely was the best of the season.
almost
One of
perfect.
the best. One of the best of all Lower Decks. I think it ranks up there.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Escalation. That's an entire point higher than your previously top rated one.
Yeah. Now, before we get to your
Yeah.
thing, there's 2 super chats we need to address.
Fantastic.
Mark Lawrence, $20. Been listening in the background while setting up my vinyl cutter. I'd be all for the multi-part Year of Hell story, maybe mixed with time travel, but that might be like when Enterprise was stuck in the alternate World War II. Yeah.
Well, they could always call like year of passion or year of happiness, or year. You know, you could dig on it.
Oh yeah, I could see them doing something like that for sure.
Yeah. A year of bliss.
Year of bliss. I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
And like everyone's having the best year. She's an admiral now. Boimler's captain. And they've got to undo the best year ever. Oh, that's a good storyline. That's actually good. That's a good film idea. Yeah.
Mariner's in charge of the brig, which is her second home, so she can like hang out in the cells when no one's in there.
She took Uhura's job finally as chief of the brig of Space Dock.
Yeah.
No, that's sorry. Sorry, I'm wrong. She was a transport officer, but she had a cupboard, the brig. I was just associating that with the brig for some reason.
And SVS Guru 2005 euros. I was a bit surprised that the Admiral was forcing them to do negotiations, expecting them to fail. Though in hindsight, it makes sense.
Yeah, that was a weird thing to reconsider because.
But it doesn't tie in. Because how is the Texas class going to go in and negotiate better than they would? Like seriously, think about it. It's yes to make the Kelly class and Freeman look bad,
which is not the objective.
Well, it's a good step towards getting the Kelly class shuttered and replaced with something else. But there's no way that the Texas class would be able to go in and negotiate that any better. So it's a little weird.
I will negotiate your trust with fire.
I have photon torpedoes locked onto you. You will accept our terms and conditions. Please scroll down and click the accept button.
Yeah.
All right, continue. I'm sorry. I had to...
No, I was making a joke too. Yeah, it's.
I'm gonna have a shot for Mark's.
Yeah, when you say it like that, that's super interesting. I assume that he would know that the Calamarain are a bit bitchy and they would go a bit aggressive and they would then need to fight them. But even that, it's just a freighter-y sort of ship. It's not a warship, so if the Trios can't take on that, that's pretty sad. But also, I asked the people. We haven't got 50 votes yet, so I'll just stop it now. First 2 episodes, you guys liked the first one with 71%. Because it's that long to get those votes, I'm not going to bother doing the rest of the I was explaining 50 quite quickly. So that's fine. That's fine. We know you guys like the first one most, or a lot. This episode for me, it's good, but the Orion stuff is too long again. It outsays the welcome. The payoff is great, but it's too long. The Quark and Kill stuff is great, but it's too over the joke with the strikes is too much. It's too repetitive. The intro is weak, with them actually at DS9 when, yeah, remember they say, approaching the rendezvous point. You mean Deep Space Nine? You should say approaching Deep Space Nine, you idiot, helmless person. Stuff like that. That's just stupid. The fact there's no ships around the station's a bit silly, especially if they knew they had a Sovereign and they knew they had all these other ships in the buffer now, which they had. And the entirely sideline Boimler. I seriously, I would just have removed Marin and Boimler entirely. Just you don't need them. I guess they maybe contractually every episode, but like Mariner's thing. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Mariner's subplot is very tricky because it actually makes her arc worse, because the entire point of the candle making is to show that Jen likes Marion for who she is, wants her for who she is, and will literally take her entire friends group being stunned, which hurts, and falling down and maybe bruising themselves, which is going to hurt their reputation, because are you really going to be friends with someone that stunned you in cold blood? You know, it's quite like she does it with glee and aggression. Like, she's not invited to any other parties. So that when Jen then, I thought I knew you in the last episode, or the episode 9, entirely doesn't work with this episode. Of course she knows her better than this. This episode entirely is the point of that. So their relationship makes it clear that Marion likes Jen more, but it entirely hurts Jen as a character a lot, this episode, compared to the 9th. For me, I think episode 1 is way more creatively fun, with way more small good ideas. This one obviously realizes its goal better with DS9. I'm going to give this one a knowing 8.9, which means episode 1 will just beat it, but by an absolute smidge, because what it does well. But yeah, like, tiny amount less than episode 1.
Well, Ozzy Medeiros, $5. You guys need the Orion Pirate song. Okie dokie.
Oh, God, yeah. God, yeah.
And SBS Guru 2000 throws in €10. I'm sure the Badmiral would have said, we'll patch that function in later. Like Elon Musk's full self-driving that should have been released in 2017.
Do you want to read Jose's fantastic comment?
Yeah, I was just going to read that. Yeah, I saw that one. You guys should do a script for the Year of Bliss and pitch it to Mike McMahon. Who knows? You may end up with a writing credit.
We can actually do that. That's entirely within our power. But there is an actual rule where they aren't allowed to listen to anything fan, because this has been a long-standing thing. If anyone says anything...
They did open it up to ideas.
Yes,
recently.
But they own the ideas by law, by writing in. So the idea is that if you tell someone an idea and they use it, and then you say 2 months later, well, actually, I gave them the idea, and you sue them, legal problems. So they can't hear things because the legal precedent on that is very weak. Versus that contest where they own the rights to anything you submit, so they can also ignore it, you know?
Or they can just watch our lives and get all of our theories and ideas and just do it on their own, and this, you know. But anyway. All right. So it's episode 6. Here I'll trust nothing.
Yes. So, episode 7.
Oh, fuck.
I'm glad I got this one, though. Dinner hamper. Right, so my score for this one. Yeah.
Just Avatar and Dances with Wolves.
Yes.
Lord Exile.
Yeah, it's a bold take. It's a fresh take. You would be high on shrooms if in 1987, when the Exocomps got invented, you had said in 30 years from now there'll be an entire episode of television with an Exocomp as a main lead, and they'll be a real bitch. Like, that's the fact they could do that and get away with it, and it's actually a pretty good episode, is the achievement. This episode is the achievement of doing it. You know, not because... Yeah, anyway. But the spaceships are cool, the battle's good, seeing not Martok back is great payoff to its own story. No one gets anything to do with our main leads except Freeman, but still good. I do like the father. No, well, I do like the father and the son. Although don't set up the girlfriend if you're not going to utilize the girlfriend character. Robot Falcon sex canon, and Exocomp set up for villain. You know, her journey starts with being a fresh ensign to a fresh messiah figure almost, and then to a fresh villain. And this is fantastic because you get the 5-second list of cameos from Jeffrey Combs, which is, you don't do that without this is a plot build, rather than, look, we had Jeffrey to come in for 1.5 minutes to record. You know what I mean? Like he had to pay an entire day rate for saying that. But it's super important in the grand scheme. I know it's a fun episode. It was a weird watch. This is the perfect episode for a 26 episode season of television. It's that refreshing curveball of fun. In 10 though, it's weird. But if not to use it in season 3 or 4, this is the time to do it, though, isn't it? Not 1 or 2, 3 or 4. So it's and boy, Cerritos, this is when they start getting damaged, because the next,
Oh yeah.
I mean the next was holodeck, but they get broken every episode from this point onwards. And it's never not gruesome, which is quite an achievement, really.
So what's your score?
Oh, well, I mean, you can do your thing first.
All right. I actually hated Peanut Hamper since the beginning. I thought I was distanced enough from it that I thought my hate was a little bit unfounded, and I thought I might be wrong. And I saw this episode and went, nope, totally on point with that. So I was going to ask you, well, after your spiel, I forgot. What did you think of the bird exocomp fucking?
It was a thing.
All right. Even though they're quite different. Anyway, yes.
It's fun. It's lower decks, you know.
It is, and the whole episode I was going, what the hell, are you going to see the Cerritos crew? I love that they showed up at the end, but honestly, I was just kind of like waiting for the Cerritos crew, and it kind of disturbed my first viewing of it, because I was like, this whole episode is going to be just this, isn't it? I did like the end. I liked the fact that they were war capable at one point, and the ship designs are very cool. Or that they are very similar to the Sona ship designs. Is there a correlation there? Could be. Go watch our episode on it. But the ending saved it for me a bit, because the battle was quite awesome. Got 2 different alien ships, but Peanut Hamper just, I was like, oh, there was a moment. And this was their intention. There was a moment where I'm like, oh, Peanut Hamper's turned around. It's awesome.
I really wish she was good. I know it's going to be great in season 4. It's a setup episode. It's so real.
Yeah.
To slam it down.
And then no, she's not. The worst. I was going to say the worst human being. The worst exocomp ever. Actually, shows.
We know a lot of exocomps, don't we? We know them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many.
Yeah. Exactly. We know her dad, actually, personally. He's like in the other room fixing something right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So I forget. Do I score first or do you? God damn it! I think the person that gives the recap scores first. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it's bold as hell.
I appreciate what they do in retrospect. What they tried to do by do something different, like the second or third viewing, it's worth it. But the first one is like, what the fuck is this?
This is another example of, is a good story better than a bad or less good Lower Decks episode? Because it's a good story told in a good way, but it's not Lower Decks people. But then it's better than a dull Lower Decks story. You know? So I'm going to give it a solid 7.2. Solid 7.2. What about you, fine fellow?
I think I probably scored this one lowest this season, but like I said, the ending kind of redeemed it a bit.
It's a good ending. Yeah.
I want to give it a 5.9.
Okay.
We got some super chats though. SPS Guru 2000, €5. A mathematically perfect redemption, still my favorite of the season. The most unique and most interesting, at least. This would have been good short treks.
Would have been fantastic short treks.
Yeah.
Yes.
It would have scored higher because it was a short treks, in my opinion. But SPS Guru 2000 throws in another €10. Jesus Christ, getting this drunk. In retrospect, her calling Peanut Hamper a mathematically perfect name was a hint that her machine logic was very off from the beginning. Also, Exocomp, Birdman, Boinging, all for it. Oh. Yeah.
I'm out of my drinks. I'm going to go grab my second drink.
Grab it. And I will remind people to hit that like button. You just go away. You stay and wait to see what I'm reminding you of. Hit that like button, guys. And keep the super chats coming. We got 6 new members as a result of gifting memberships. So I want to thank Matt Boardman and who else? Sergeant Montgomery for gifting some memberships. Appreciate that. But if you want to join the channel, hit that join button as an option as well. We are wrapping up here soon because we are on episode 8 next, which is Crisis Point 2 Paradoxics, which I think is probably the best of the season. Well, besides DS9 one. Yeah, damn. Anyway, so we'll get into that one in a minute since Daniel gets back, but hit like if you haven't already. Would appreciate that. I'll set a goal of 60. Another 6 likes would be awesome. Obviously the goal is 100, but I don't think we'll get there. So hit that like button if you have not, and consider, super chatting and joining the channel or helping us in any way you can. We greatly appreciate that. Matt says this was probably my lowest ranked episode of the season, maybe the whole series. I appreciate that they took a risk, but it didn't quite stick the landing for me. He goes on to say, I think it was a more traditional type Trek episode, so that if it had been any other Trek character that wasn't a total tool, like Peanut Hamper. Peanut Hamper is literally a tool, and that's hilarious. It would have worked, but Peanut Hamper is not my favorite. Now, Peanut Hamper is like the most despicable Star Trek character of all time, in my opinion. Even worse than the Zindi that cut Degra's throat as he told him that he was going to murder his family. Which is an awful scene, by the way. So, yeah, Peanut Hamper's right on that level, if not worse than that. So, anyway, yeah, all right. You missed that last part where I said that Peanut Hamper is the worst, most despicable Star Trek character of all time. Even worse than the Zindi that cut Degra's throat as he told him he was going to murder his wife and children. Yeah, which I hate that scene, by the way. That's a horrible way to die.
And
hearing that.
Degra's a great character.
Yeah.
It's the, you're going there, Star Trek? Shit. You, sir, are...
that was dark. Yeah.
And then bloody Hoshi being drugged up, and it's like, yes.
All right.
Hello.
We're going to episode 8, Crisis Point 2 Paradoxics. Starts out with obviously a holodeck simulation of a movie, if you will, but we don't know that at the time, of them stealing a device, the Romulan twins, or triplets, sorry, stealing a device, and some
a time crystal.
Yeah, the Cerritos gets the crap kicked out of it, but it gets saved by the USS Wayfarer, a Sovereign-class ship, which is, again, great visuals. And it's captained by something Dagger, Bucephalus Dagger, some kind of weird name for Boimler. But then Boimler gets called away to ransom, and he thinks it's just because, he's been deadlifting and he needs a spotter, whatever. Comes back, he's all depressed, and they continue the holodeck simulation, but Boimler is off in left field and basically follows a side character who's promising the secrets of life, and Mariner does not know why. There's more exciting action going on. He hands over command of the mission to Tendi and goes after this side character, which I love. The holodeck, the computer had to make it up on the fly. We get to meet Nick Nack, one of my favorite Lower Decks characters of all time.
Wait,
I am Nick Nack. I am Nick Nack. And some good references here. The Star Trek 2, the Star Trek 2, the Star Trek 2 Genesis device presentation, but with like a wireframe TOS Enterprise and a wireframe. Galaxy class, beautiful, awesome. Love seeing that, seeing them represented correctly. Tendi is upset that Rutherford's not taking the simulation seriously. We get to visit the Lost Era. We get to do some really cool stuff. We see the signing of the Charter of the Federation, and Tendi announces her, that she wants to be a captain eventually. She's taking this super seriously. She's glad that Boimler handed it off to her. Meanwhile, Boimler and Mariner are going on a side quest to find this god, which will Kataya, which will help him figure things out. We get Knick-Knack saving the day, and the third act reveal of Knick-Knack being like this kick-ass wrestler kind of guy. So, yeah, and then how does this? Oh yeah, the whole Kitty Hawk thing that doesn't even make any sense. Again, the computer's making it up on the fly. This was not supposed to be an important character in any regards, and so that reveal for Boimler is kind of like, I love that it was a inspirational quote generator essentially that the holodeck came up with. But going back to Tendi, she's absolutely stoked about everything that happened, and she thought it was the best experience ever. They go back in the holodeck. They go back in time using the crystal, and they basically turn things around on the Romulans. And there's a lot of really great stuff here. Tiana dies. Well, at least one version of Tiana dies, and yeah. And at the end, it's like, I don't know what kind of shenanigans you got into, but we had a really fun time. This was like the best holodeck program ever, even though Boimler thought it was bad. But, Mariner stands up for him. He's like, "Are you kidding? He kicked the ass of a god." This is more bold Boimler, I guess. And then it ends, of course, with the Sulu. Well, Boimler almost dies and sees Sulu as a result at the Kirk Ranch. And it's like, "Oh, Captain Kirk. Oh, my, no. Well, Captain Sulu, even better." Still laugh at that. I don't like the horse he's going to bite you now part, but anyway, he wakes up and Tiana says, "Yeah, you almost died, man." And then, of course, the stinger at the end, the post-credits scene of the Section 31 styled Defiant class. And clone Boimler, I should have said the reason he was so upset the entire time, I missed this point, was that his clone had died in his sleep.
Well, duplicate.
Yeah, duplicate died. And so he was just, pontificating on like the meaning of life during the whole thing. But we find out that Boimler actually, his death was faked, so he could join Section 31. And we get the awesome reveal. Like, we get a jab at the Kelvin timeline. We get a jab at the stupid black badges for Section 31. And it's actually kind of great.
Think we're going to get a black badgie?
Ah, yes, that'd be great.
Can I tell you a secret? No! Kill.
But would that be Badgie wearing blackface? Is that politically correct?
Are you saying he's yellow as a color of him?
Yes.
No, he's a cold of gold, so he can be the cold of black badge too.
There you go. Okay. But anyway, yeah, nice little reveal at the end of Section 31, and then more point out they're definitely setting something up for season 4 or 5. And yeah, fantastic episode, probably the best of the season in my opinion. But yeah, there we go. Thoughts?
Yeah. What do you think, guys? No, I'm joking. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just missed opportunities to a certain extent in this one. Some great stuff, some weaker stuff. All about the visuals, too much breadth, not enough depth. Not as good as the first movie. But it definitely shows the advancement in how far they can go as a show. Showing this many visuals, showing this many locations, this many cool things that are like one-note jokes. Like they built all of Sydney for a 3-minute gag, if that. Tendi stuff does work better now having watched the season. She's definitely pushing further. I think when we watched it the first time, I forgot she did the thing Miglamo, so it didn't pay. This works better for sure, which is great. Boimler, we really need to have seen Transporter Clone Boimler to care more. If we'd seen one appearance of him on the Titan in season 2 or 3 doing his normal job, just one, then we would have felt sad like Boimler. But it kind of falls flat by itself and just like, oh, okay. Okay. But it's definitely an episode filled with tiny good ideas. I just think there's too much of a dwelling on certain bits that don't quite work as well. But at least I was right. We get to see these Sovereign again, so that is right for me there. And the triplets is great. Time Crystal is great. Mockery of certain things is great. But yeah, it's yeah. Score-wise, Stuart, what are you gonna give it?
Well, as I said, I think it's best of the season. Shit, I scored one really high, didn't I? 9.6. 9.8.
Okay.
Almost perfect episode, in my opinion.
All right.
Well, the pain we put ourselves through to do these retrospectives.
8.7. Pretty good. Misses the ball on a few things.
Yeah.
Episode 9.
Episode 9.
Introduction of the end.
Trusted sources, yeah.
Two-parter. Mariner is really happy and good and genuinely solid and wants to do good. And Mum slaps her down. Pretty much is the basic plot. But we get a great TNG Season 1 second contact. And they're doing great after their horrific 17. They're doing great now, though. Yeah, fine now. Don't look at the middle bit. The middle bit is death and destruction and chaos. We're great now. But the other planet, to wit, the Admiral did know that the Breen took over, which we don't get any more context on, because there's, like, are the Breen there? Did they just get there? Why are they there? Questions! And why is Starfleet monitoring the planet to know the Breen were there? There wasn't really there's not a good payoff on the Breen in part 2. There's just a part of our plan. You're like, how? Shut up. Okay, fair enough. But it's a plan. Texas class comes in. It's cool. It does certainly de-strengthen the... You have 2 victorious ships fly-in moments. 2 episodes in a row. So it does kind of... One weakens the other, I think. But we expected them, so... Okay, fine. Everyone goes against Mariner. It feels out of character for everyone. It feels too much. It would work better as a Season 2 Mariner. That would have been fine. But Season 3 Mariner... People are seeing her difference, so it feels a bit off. But Starbase 80, great. Charles, great. In fact, the team are like, we sort of believe you, but also sort of don't. Just apologise for what? I didn't do anything, etc. The reporter works better second time around because they were in the first episode. The reporting comes full circle. It would have been cool if she was in that episode, the first one, but that's fine. But very much as a part 1 with part 2. Stay tuned for part 2. Thoughts? It's good. It's not as watertight as it could have been to part 2, I think. I think they decide to shift the paradigm more than we expected of part 2. There isn't a Breen payoff. There really isn't a Starbase 80 payoff. There really isn't a very good... Let's say Candace Everdeen. That's Hunger Games, but the astrologist? Archaeologist payoff. But, you know, it's very much the hard... Mariner's out Starfleet. She's facing... yeah, because in the first episode, she yells against her parents saying, what are you going to do, throw me out of Starfleet? So I think this very much is a case of, she actually was at Starfleet. She's now lived her worst fear, as it were, and come back from that. So she's only going to be stronger for it. You know, and she knows she's got somewhere to go. I don't think she would have broken the bridge with the ladies. I think she could always go back to that. So it works well that it's a Mariner story subplot, but the report doesn't really make sense. The second contact sort of works, but it should have happened for a while. Stuff like that.
You got to see some Starbase 80, which I really appreciated because we were wondering why it was such a shit assignment. Wish we would have seen more of Starbase 80, but hey. Project Swingby is a fantastic idea. I love that Freeman thought of it, but also kind of on her reasoning for it. Wasn't a fan of that necessarily. Kind of made her look bad again. The reporter was, I think, fine. Love that it's everybody else that said the actual true stories, and that was taken as a bad thing. Yet Mariner was the one that stood up for the crew and the captain, and this is the place to be. This is a family. This is the one that I've chosen. Hate the way that everybody turned on Mariner. Love the return of the brain. Love the return to the planet from season 1, episode 22, Symbiosis of TNG. Nice little callback there, and such a great recap by Ransom that just caught you up to speed on what that was. I thought that was great as well. Some of it doesn't make sense. Yeah, the Texas class coming to save the day was nice. It's like, ooh, well, why was it there? Right away, there's kind of a question of like, what's going on here? But seeing the Breen back was fantastic. Absolutely loved the Breen. We need to learn more about them, I think. So bringing those back were great. I just wish they would have played a bigger part in the next episode. Maybe they will in future seasons. I don't know. But why were they there? How were they? What was their relationship with the planet? Did they just kill everybody on the planet? We did see them disintegrate one person. So that raises a lot of questions. The fact that One Amigo knew that.
Were they even in league with One Amigo? Did they even tip them off?
Exactly, yeah. Like, who knows how far that goes, right? So there's a lot of really good stuff here, but I really hate the way the crew just assumed Mariner had said bad things. Jennifer, her mom, nobody actually got her side of the story or talked to the reporter in more detail to find out what was said. That kind of bothered me a little bit. So there are things about this that bothered me. But One Amigo, I can now declassify it and tell you all the information about the Texas class. Like, it's a real sales pitch, which seems out of left field. Freeman and Ransom are like, what the hell just happened? Interesting episode. It's your turn to score first, though.
Interesting. Okay, well, let's round it down for a second. Is this episode made better from episode 10? Or worse, or the same?
Yes, it's better, in my opinion.
How much better?
Marginally better.
I would agree. Not a huge amount, but some. Yeah. I think this one is pretty solid. The fact that it ties in so much is good, but yeah, there's a real, now watching the whole season, and see if you agree with me, there's a real feel of we need to move our chess pieces ready for the next match versus this is where they go organically. What do you think?
I wouldn't say for the next match, for the final kill, but yes, moving the chess pieces into
Mariner
alignment
really
it's quite obvious in this episode. It's very fast. Yeah.
Still one of the better of the season though, for sure. I'm gonna say 8.2.
Okay. Me score wise, I'm gonna have to say 8.8.
Okay.
SPS Guru 2000 throws in €10. Question: did the shuttle and TOS have warp capability? I think they would have, since they were using it to transport a diplomat long range in this Cochrane episode, which is Metamorphosis, by the way. That's sketchy. Some sources say yes, some say no. I'd like to think they have minimal warp capability, but I somehow doubt it. So
yeah, that's a very tricky question.
It's very tricky.
Because they got warp nacelles, but so does this ship before it had warp. Specifically, the episode. Well, talk about people taking people to the events in TNG. Picard and Wesley travelled 16 hours at Impulse, despite it would have been a 2-minute warp jump. So they do travel Impulse for a day or two. Geordi also travels at Sublight days. So that is not unusual for them to travel days at Sublight, even though it makes no sense. Fine. In the 1TOS episode in Menagerie, where they're following the Enterprise, logically you would assume they're at warp to follow the Enterprise, because they leave the starbase. However, they run out of fuel. You can't run out of fuel at warp. That's not. It wouldn't be using fuel. It was implied of impulse fuel, like actual propulsion jets vibe, but also there is zero chance that the shuttle could match a heavy cruiser's warp velocity. even at a cruising speed. So even unless Spock was going warp 1, maybe 2, maybe push 3 if we were going to be very generous, maybe warp 3, but Spock would go like warp 8 to catch up with them. So
Yeah.
it's impractical. They could not, and Kirk would know we can't possibly catch up to the Enterprise at warp. So it has to be impulse, assuming this Spock has a warp drive working, which doesn't work either. So the whole episode doesn't work at all from those reasons, because they're just ridiculous. But functionally, it's always been implied it hasn't got warp. That's kind of its fun limitation. That's why when TNG rolls around, they actually have warp. It's like, great, they have warp now. Discovery obviously shifts that with everything's got warp. But, yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough question.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're on the final episode, which was
Yes. Which was yesterday.
Last one, The Stars at Night. Buenamigos basically wants to shuttle the Cali class and replace it with the Texas class for second contact, which makes no fucking sense for an automated ship. Resupply, escort vessels, fine, but dumb. The other admiral should have caught on to that and been like, no, there's no way an automated ship could do second contact missions. That's just dumb. But it's proposed that there's a race because Freeman does not want the Cali class being decommissioned. So they do this resupply and second contact race. They go to a planet. They start setting up the power generation station. Buenamigo delays the launch of the Texas just to give them a head start, make it interesting. And don't you know that the Texas class can beam down like prefabricated buildings, like whole cloth, just boom.
Which I do believe they're the same rough structures as we see in the third episode with the mind crystals. I believe it's roughly the same.
Okay. Well, anyway, turns out on the second planet they find evidence of microbial life, so they have to investigate that. The Texas class comes in, does its thing, and warps out, so they lose their head start. And to find out that there is no life on the planet, so they end up heading to the phasing planet, but they're too late to get there because of the little holdup they had. Everybody's all discouraged that the Texas class won the race. The Cali class are going to all be shuttered, but the hitch is that the Texas class didn't even for a second notice that there might be a chance of intelligent microbial life. So Rutherford determines that the code that was used for the Texas class is actually his own code that he did for Badgie, his AI, which is not stable, not emotionally stable. So you can't have a ship with daddy issues. Buenamigo activates the fully autonomous mode of the Texas class. It annihilates him, activates the other two Texas classes. They take out a starbase. They take out the USS Van Sitters, which is a Sovereign class ship. And then they basically, the Cali class, or the Cerritos, acts as a decoy to get them away from killing civilians. They chase the Cerritos. You get Shaxs.
Or another way of looking at it, they basically sacrifice themselves, because that is not a decoy. They're like, we are probably going to die here.
Yep.
Brave.
Yep, but it's saving civilians, so they're actually being very heroic. Shaxs finally gets his lifelong dream come true. He gets to eject a warp core and destroys two of the three ships. The Alito survives and wants revenge on the Cerritos. I will burn your hearts in fire. And all of the Cali class show up because Mariner, who was with Petra Aberdeen, well, there's a little side story there of who's funding us. Oh, it's Admiral Picard. Moving on. Very small. Nothing nefarious going on there, but she wants a reason to rejoin Starfleet. She calls in all the Cali-class ships to save the day. They all show up, which makes no sense. All you needed was one line of dialogue. They were all decommissioned and ordered back to the starbase. Anyway, they all show up. They destroy the Alito and save the day. And Rutherford gets an answer to what's been going on, because Buenamigo was the one that instigated his accident and put in the implant and stole his code. Wants that all deleted. So that's why I had memory issues. So we got an answer to that whole subplot. And very quick wrap up with Mariner and the crew. There's some apologies from Boimler and the mom and stuff, but Freeman, I think, really overstepped in the last episode and made herself look really bad by just assuming that Mariner had done that without questioning her first.
And looks worse now when the entire season's put in its perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the wrap up, everything's good. Rutherford's keeping his implant. And Cali class. And that's the end. But not the end, because at the post-credits scene...
Which we both missed.
Yes.
Despite looking for it, which is weird.
You see Badgie's, or Rutherford's original implant, floating in space.
Yes.
Tractor beam by a green tractor beam. And you see Badgie. So Badgie's coming back in season 4 or 5.
That's true. And it's going to be a Sinister 3. Badgie, Peanut Ham... No, Sinister 4 if you include Alito. Badgie, Alito...
Agamus.
And
Peanut Ham.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although,
which will probably contact the Borg. The Borg, the green tractor beam could be Borg or Romulan.
Well, if you include the computer from the episode with the volcano, that can be 5. Because, the psychic baby and the volcano throw the robot out to the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, your thoughts on this one?
It is good. It's the biggest of the season now, watching it back. Yeah. Even the movie one. The movie one kind of goes at a very sleek pace. This is a broader pace, I feel like. A broader scope, I feel like. Even though it is, by definition, a cut and paste episode. 3 Alito, 3 Texas class, 42 of the Texas. It is literally a cut, and every planet is in essence a copy and paste in some small way. So, but it works. It absolutely does not fall into the traps of Picard or other shows where that's a problem. Having met one of the two of the different Cali class captains this season, the Bolian and the Black Young Captain, they pay off better here now. Re-seeing them, cool. And I loved seeing the Bolian after hearing him in the other episode. Was really good to see. And the Admiral going bad was not telegraphed, but we definitely predicted from episode 1 if we were forced to say, if Mike said, so what do you think about the Admiral? We're like, ooh.
Admiral, good friend. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's definitely sad knowing how many times he appeared, which is plenty. They definitely swapped him from the dad to give an Admiral character something bad to do. But Texas is a cool class. Someone's going to be sidelined every episode. What did Tendi do? Anything?
Yeah, she was the one that discovered the microbial life. Or thought she did.
Okay, yeah.
And she felt bad. She felt guilty for holding up the race.
Yeah. But T'Lyn, that's the biggest takeaway, honestly. T'Lyn, one of the best moments of the best episode of Lower Decks. Is it strong in the first 1 or 2 parts? I don't know. Seeing Bracker and stuff was really good. But seeing the space race thing was pretty cool. I don't know. Score-wise, what do you think, Stuart?
8.8 out of 10.
Oh, so same as Lost. Same as episode 9. Okay.
That's what's going with my gut.
Okay. $8.3. All right. Stuart, you invent a new poll while I tally up the scores.
I gotta read super chats. So
Yes, please do.
don't know if we need a poll necessarily.
Maybe not.
Hold on a second. SPS Guru 2000, 10 euros. Another parallel between Freeman and Badmiral. Freeman threw Mariner under the bus trying to protect her image, and the Badmiral was willing to murder the Cerritos to protect his project.
And that's certainly when it swaps. I would prefer a non-murder end, personally.
Yeah. Grant McGregor, though, throws in $5. Still argue the Texas class was to eliminate the contact part in Second Contact, all for safety. So many deaths we saw could have been avoided by robots. No. Sorry, gotta disagree with you on that
Second
one.
Contact needs a lot of redundancy.
Finesse.
Yeah.
Needs a lot of finesse.
You need a 300-person crew with every specialist variation under the sun to help steer the ship, literally and figuratively. You don't want the machine that has a certain programming that maybe can deviate a little bit, but no.
I think the AI would be a little too rigid. I wouldn't understand the complexities of a new civilization. So
maybe it would understand. It wouldn't be able to work around. It would understand by definition, but it wouldn't.
It would need human input to kind of do that. So.
I mean, even Data. I mean, he can't deal with situations as effectively as a human can in those sorts of things. He's insensitive, etc. So already there's examples of human touch is kind of important.
Okay, I got a poll idea. Hold on.
Okay. And guys,
SGS Guru, 2,010 euros. I think the Robocop quote might sum up the Texas class project perfectly. I had a guaranteed military sale with the Ed 209 renovation program, spare parts for 25 years. Who cares if it worked or not? Exactly. Yes.
Well, I wish there was an implication he rushed it, but he's been working on it since Rutherford was in the academy. Like somehow 15 years ago, it's weird timing, but I mean we joked, and actually it's even more. Literally, Rutherford has been a cadet to ensign in time the other guy went from lieutenant commander to admiral.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I mean, Rutherford must be in his older. Is Rutherford in his 40s? Because Buenamigo is certainly in his 60s. I wonder if that was a mistake to give him the not full pip. Because if he was a commander, I could buy him, but it's such a weird choice to have him be a lieutenant commander. That was a really wrong choice, I think.
I got a new poll. How would you rate this season compared to the other seasons? The best was okay, or the worst of the three?
Goodness.
Season as a whole.
Yes. So how did you feel about Sorry.
Buenamigo met a very grisly end. He didn't hold back on that. No, like when you watch it frame by frame, actually, you see his skeleton, you see his guts. It's quite disgusting.
Yeah, you might not see the guts, but
your brain does.
Yes. This is absolutely the case. So, how do you feel about your scoring this time versus original? Do you think you've managed to be about the same? Different? What do you think?
I think fairly much on point. It's fairly similar, at least.
Okay.
Go vote on the poll, guys.
Yes. Okay, where's your...
Can't wait to hear the results of this.
Yeah, these are always really interesting. Okay. So...
Ozzy, before you get into it, Ozzy, $5. Okay. California starships named after all California cities. Okie dokie.
Pretty much. So, your original lowest score, first run, was a 5.1.
Okay.
And that was episode 7.
Peanut Hamper.
This time, your lowest score is a 5.8. Episode 4. Which is which?
I'm thinking.
Room
for Growth.
Yeah, Room for Growth. Okay. However, the reversal. Your second lowest last time, with a 5.7, was episode 4. Your second worst this time, with a 5.9, is 7. So 4 and 7 have swapped.
Okay.
This is hilarious to read. Your 8th was episode 2. Your 7th was episode 3. Now, your 8th is episode 3. 7th episode 2. So that's swapped as well.
Okay.
And then to roll reverse, your number 1 with a 9.7 original is episode 8, the movie.
Crisis Point.
Beating that by 0.1 to 9.8 is also the movie. So you kept consistent, give or take. Your second top score is Deep Space Nine, 9.6. And your second top score, again, Deep Space Nine with 9.6.
Perfect.
The only thing that's swapped in your numbering is that you have episode 10 has gone down in your rankings, and episode 9 went up 3 points. So episode 9 went from 5th place to 3rd place.
Okay.
So I'll go quickfire, if you can process it. Your orderings originally, best to worst, were episode 8, episode 6, episode 10, episode 5, episode 9, episode 1, episode 3, episode 2, episode 4, sorry guys, episode 7. Your retrospective scores, episode 8, episode 6, so they're the same, episode 9, episode 10, episode 1, episode 5, episode 2, episode 3, episode 7, episode 4. So very consistent. And almost all your scores are the same. Well, I say... Okay, no. The slight difference in your scores is that you've lowered some of your scorings a bit. Like, ground episode 1 went from 7 out of 10 to 5 out of 10. Oh, sorry. No, wait, hold on. Alright. No, from 7 to 8.6. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, very consistent show. Good job.
How about you?
How about me? And that's going to be a question, because I'm pretty sure I gave myself different numberings this time, just by accident. Okay, so first time looking at it. Oh, no, similar again. My least favourite, originally, was episode 2. My second, episode 4, and that's role reversed. But just barely by 1 point. My original best was Deep Space Nine with 9.1. My new best is episode 1 with 9. Followed closely by Deep Space Nine with 8.9. Episode 5 has gone down by 0.4. Episode 10 I gave the same score. Interesting. So I've gone up, in fact, in most of my scores. Yeah, I've gone up in almost all my scores. So same number. Yeah, so different number 1, different number 2, same number 3, different number. Yeah. So actually, still pretty damn consistent. My number 8 and 7 are the same in both. No. Numbers 8, 7, and 6 are the same in both patterns, just a bit higher in score. Interesting. Ah. Interesting.
There you go.
So your original number 1 was episode 8. It's now episode 8. Mine was DS9. Now it's episode 1. So now my favourite is episode 1. Your favourite is the movie. But it's still number 3. It's still number 3 for me. So it has not really... There's not a huge margin. Wow. Okay. Less radical than I thought. Okay. Cool.
Guys,
Yes.
Can we get 3 more likes and $8 more to close out?
Still got a decent amount of that.
I open another one. It's like 3/4 full.
Oh, I mean, 50 and Stuart will down his drink.
That's fair.
That's fair. So best stop drinking it, so it's more venomous. I've actually still got some of this as well. So yeah, no, good season. Weakest of the 3, in my opinion. But mostly, now we've done the retrospect, so I guess closing thoughts is it's the weakest of the 3 because the highs have felt less high, even though we've still scored it high. Versus I don't know what we scored the other 2 seasons, but the highs of those seasons felt freaking high, even if the scores are roughly the same.
This season as a whole will probably get an 8.6 out of 10 for me, compared to the other 2, which would be much higher.
I'd say solid 8. Yeah. Solid 8.
It's still good. It's still fantastic. So.
Question then. Did you enjoy Strange New World Season 1 or Lower Decks Season 3 more? Because that's a real hard metric. Yeah.
Comes down to canon versus non-canon.
I know! I know. That's my thing as well.
It'd probably be Lower Decks just because of sticking to canon. Yeah. However, I do appreciate what they did with Strange New Worlds going to episodic format. And really, really good stories. Very strong and consistent. So
Thanks. That's awesome. No, I agree with that 100%.
And Matt Boardman, $10. How about $10 because reasons? Okay. SPS Guru 2000, 10 euros. Here's to at least 4 more seasons. Hell yeah. I'll drink to that.
I want this to be the first eight season show. I want it. I need it. I need it. Do it. That's my opinion.
100%. 100%.
Yes.
Well, we need 2 more likes and $30 more would be good.
Yes. And I will.
But yeah.
Oh, nice.
Pitch your Indiegogo. I know you want to.
Yes. And just
you need to.
Well, yes. Want and need. Yes, as you guys know, I'm currently Indiegogoing my grand spectrum of Trek short films. It's a hell of an adventure, and it's entirely doable because of the fans. I'm of course a fan as well, but it takes a lot of effort, time and thought to do this sort of project. We're currently at 10% of our £31,000 goal. It is a lot, but with 20 plus films, that's actually very cheap, because some of these props, cost a lot of money, and they look fantastic on screen. As you can see, we have a plethora of fantastic costumes. We love our props, as you know, Stuart. We love our variety. You can see we have some really, really great things. I mean, if you like TNG, here's a full TNG film. If you like Picard, we've got a Picard film already. 5 films out this year alone is pretty rare by itself. Lots of great perks, lots of great options, all different rank levels. I mean, the fun perks, the easy perks are: do you want a special credit in every single episode that a ship appears? So it's sort of confirmed, but yes, the Defiant will appear, the Enterprise E will appear, Cerritos will appear, the Defiant will appear, Defiant, Deep Space Nine, and the Enterprise D. So an easy one to get for £15, which is not very much, is you will be an official crew member. So every single film that ship appears, there'll be a separate set of credits that will say Enterprise D crew. Your name will be right there. And if there's many films that are appearing, you'll get many credits as well. Or, this is for the Trekyards of us, there's the Ships of Trek shorts, which, as you remember last time, I pitched and you saw a picture. I don't know if you've looked at the campaign, but you can see the new version of that poster is a bit more full with ships. And what's fun about this poster in particular is that it's all to scale. So as you can see live, it's probably caught up about now. This is the current version of the poster, but I will update it when more ships arrive. And there are a lot of ships, and it's really fun to see, because anyone can make any poster, but just to know the correct scale is a hard thing. And so it's really fun to see, a vibe of them all together. And we're offering a signed version and a non-signed if you just want the high-res version, to what you can zoom in. And it's really fun seeing perspective, the relative sizes. The fact that I just don't have the Pterodex in frame fully because it's too big. Or the fact that Ambassador, pretty much the same size as a Galaxy, but not quite, etc. So there are a few fun small perks or big perks. You want to see these cool things? Anything else?
Well, we got a few things to clear up before we end here. SPS Guru 2000, €5.
Thank you.
I prefer Lower Decks Season 3 to Strange New Worlds Season 1. Strange New Worlds was a good step in the right direction, but feels like ticking boxes. Lower Decks feels like it has vision behind it. 100% agree with everything you just said there. Our poll, though, how would you rate this season compared to the other seasons? With 29 votes, Best was winning for a while, but right now OK won with 45%, 47% now. Best at 40%, and the worst of the three at 13%. So most people disagree with us that this was the worst season of the show. Listen, Jericho would be a great perk, actually. What about getting a ship named after you?
Yes, that is in my plan of second round of perks, because I want to be able to offer stuff throughout the campaign that's new. That will be a perk I'm offering, as well as some other poster cool art. Yeah, that's definitely an idea. But as you can imagine, the idea of having to show that means it's got to be meaningful. So I can't do it for like $20, because otherwise if I did, it'd be like a background ship that you can't see. There's only so many spots I can show the registry, so that'll be not necessarily a high tier perk, but not a cheap perk. But yeah, I definitely want to offer that, because you could ask for anything, and certainly for the documentary style format, there are lots of cutaways to ships that they'd be like, yes, you could be the guy, you could be the guy fighting the Packers, or you could be the guy fighting the Dominion, you can be the guy that's staying still because the ship is damaged and it's out of power, and that's the storyline of that ship. Yes, that's going to be a perk for sure. And Matt asks, do you know when people might see perks from previous campaigns? Yes, so those were all paused because we got more than our budget last time, and we've spent that on props and such, and we want to make more films after that because it was so exciting, and it felt weird to say, here's 5 posters for 5 films, when if you're going to make another 15, it's kind of cool to say, well, which 5 of the 15 do you want versus here's the first 5. So we kind of stopped and said, well, we'll finish making them first, and then you can pick which 5 of the many, and then you can really like have
you updated the Indiegogo campaign, like people that got the perks, to let them know that? Because okay, good.
Yeah, but I'll do it again. I was told they didn't actually update people, which is sad. So I mean, I don't know. As in, it didn't it didn't do an email blast. But hey ho. But yeah, I mean, at this point, any amount, I'm thoroughly in debt from Trek Shorts, so half the money will help me be more financially stable, etc. But the high-end perks, you get a lot for them. We're doing so many films, you get lots of soundtracks. One of my favourite perks that 2 people already got is the Section 31 Agent, which I've had fun designing, where you get that as a credit in every film. The Section 31 Consultant. Such a stupid perk, but it's like, yes, you are, and it'll be in the
Section 31 Assassin.
But that'll be in the actual crew, not the cast. So that'll be an official like VFX supervisor, catering, Section 31 consultant. And he gets signed scripts, which is that's going to be a big thing to try and get, because getting everyone together is kind of tricky in a good way. But yeah. Lots of fun things to get. And everything Captain below is digital, everything Admiral above is physical, so it seems a way of differentiating. You can see lots of 15 digital posters, 15 soundtracks, because we've got a lot of good stuff music-wise coming. I mean, some of the music, our DS9 film music was so good. I'm really proud of Matt for
that. I want to get those soundtracks, by the way.
Yeah, they're really good. And he's only getting better. I mean, it's practice. He'd only done a few films, and obviously we're doing a lot of films together, so you're only going to get better. We've got our next film coming up. I mean, it's not really a secret. And if I show you if you look at the page, there's the next release. What do you see on the next release part of the, what would you guess was the next release from the picture? I don't think it's exactly obvious,
I don't know, delay. Hold on.
I know.
Hi, Boardman. You've got a lot going on, so it's understandable. Just thought it might be good for people to hear that you have a lot of cool stuff going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I didn't want to shortchange people. I wanted to give them, but it's still worth, getting the perk again, as it were, because you only got 5 last time, but you can get, way more this time. So, and it'll carry over.
Going on for next release?
Yeah, what would you take from that? The blur that it is.
Romulan, Section 31. I can't read the blurb. If there is a blurb.
No, the blur. It's a blurred out picture, but what can you see in the blur?
Romulan, Section 31.
Yeah, Romulan, exactly. So the Romulans are in the next film, which is you can tell they're the Deredex. So that one's fun because the score I'm picking specific Romulan themes from TNG, which is really cool because they're so specific. So the music guys really like developing his skills, and because going from Picard to DS9 to TNG to early TNG to super varied scoring track, and he's definitely getting better as he goes. But yeah, any amount all helps, because otherwise
we'll do a live on your campaign at some point too. So.
Yes, I'll be announcing new things on our campaigns as we do. This week's just been a bit busy, but I mean, you guys know I've released 6 films this year. I've got more films coming. We've had lots of views. It's worth supporting. If you
just support it, damn it.
Because if you can super chat $20, I mean, you can put $20 in this as well. I mean,
we are officially boycotting Trekyards from this moment forward until you support this fucking campaign.
Aren't we Trekyards?
Exactly. We're not doing any more Trekyards episodes until they support this campaign and you hit your goal.
Yeah,
we're done.
That's a problem for us. But I mean, all 33 of you could put in £10 and would jump the goal up. I'm just saying, that would, small things. But yes, we'll do other things. Today I released my trailer for a film. It's one we haven't shot yet because it's more expensive than the average film, called Time Heist. I think I can show it without showing it. Is that coming up? So I can show a little bit of it. So this is the next. Well, it's not the next, but it's another. I'll tease a bit of the visuals for a second. Look at that. Look at that. Yes, guys, I'm doing a Vidra film. Or say I want to do a Vidra film. Because the reality is, if we don't get funded, then I only have so much money I can spend on this, and I've already spent more than I should have. But yes, we're doing a Vidra film. And I'm very excited about that. It's a really, really cool idea.
I brought in Cadet Lola to support your campaign.
Yeah, that's all the support I need, really.
Cute pugs.
Yeah. Very cute. No. Dan says, yes, Stargate fan stuff. Do I know Dollar Gates? And I would mention there. Yeah, he doesn't do interviews with fan-made content of fan film style. So he just doesn't do that on principle because he doesn't want to get in trouble with MGM. I have talked to him. I like David a lot, but he can't do anything in that vein, which is annoying. Once it's out, maybe, but like not anything in production, because then, you know, you might get in trouble. But yeah. No, I'm very excited to see Vidra again.
Vidra.
And I will say that Stuart...
Short for Voyager 6.
Yes.
Spoilers.
And I will say Stuart did have a few thematic inputs in this.
I did.
So, I mean, I had to involve him a little bit, because it's Wrath Khan era. But, yes, so part of the story is gross. No, is involving... Yeah. But the great thing about Star Trek, this era of Trek, is that whenever you deal with TNG pre or post, it's all kind of in the same sets. Even like that one time we saw the Reliant that was Naked Time. That's just redressed TNG set. So you could easily make a Miranda set by just doing the tweaks they did. So we already have the TNG sets built in 3D for other films. So to kit bash them into TMP sets is not overly difficult. It's a little, but it's kind of fun to then see the same basic work, be able to go back and bring it to life. I definitely am looking forward to, there's so much chrome on those sets. It's weird because I saw that in the cinema. I was like, that's a lot of shiny chrome. Was that really the choice they made? Guess so. Yeah.
But it's a period piece. It's era appropriate, so you need to do it.
Yep. No, I'm unlike Discovery or Picard. I will not change anything. 100% canon, 100% trying. I really try, as you can imagine. And I'm excited to show the Enterprise, because I think I will have shown the Enterprise D, E... I don't think I showed the original Enterprise. I showed a Connie, but not the original Enterprise. Yeah. Any dollars makes a difference, and of course spreading the word, because fan films you might feel like they're free, as in you get them for free, and they are obviously for free. Share
the link again so people can donate if they haven't already. Yes.
But the fact is, they're actually rather expensive, and one of our more recent shoots, it cost £600, which is $800 American just for hotels. Because just what you're going to do, and you include food, you include travel, etc. It's expensive, and
set up a tent.
I don't think they're going to act for 10 hours after they've been in a tent.
Front garden.
Yeah, that's not really how that works. But yes, we only have so much salary, Stuart, and it's all gone on this. So any amount will help.
To go. Spores in the Yo campaign.
Yes, Stuart is in a couple. All right.
And more to come.
So, Prodigy, what's our Prodigy plans, Stuart?
Tuesday. Monday is Halloween. There's stuff going on, so we're going to do that Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a review of Episode 11, Asylum, so join us for that.
But you can watch our full edited review out today. We released both the Texas class and the Prodigy breakdown That was really fun because we changed our opinion going into the, which is kind of fun to kind of evolve that. Definitely worth it. I mean, do not think that Lower Decks is the only great modern anime Trek. They are both very good in different ways. We are just excited for Prodigy's work for Lower Decks, so do check that out. And the Tasteless Class follow-up is genuinely a very interesting watch as we dissect the repercussions and the additional shots that come from the show.
And I'm looking forward to talking about Prodigy again. Mm-hmm. So just for the record, guys, we also have Aaron Waltke interview coming out.
Yep. Did you watch this yet?
I have not yet. No, I haven't had a chance.
That's okay.
I was going to, but I couldn't, and I forgot about it. And I need to go and watch it.
That's okay.
Probably do that later today.
Good. He's a good guy to listen to.
Good.
Informative.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And very, very energetic.
He knows his stuff, and you can tell he knows his stuff. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, last super chat, I guess, winner.
Oh, $5 more. Last super chat winner is SVS Guru 2000 right now, but another $5. Perfect number to end out on. So thank you guys for joining us for this retrospective.
And do you want to plug where you were on this morning in case people want to go back and listen to your whatever it was about?
Synthaholics podcast on YouTube, and I believe they stream it out live on Twitter. Yeah, it was about season 3 of Lower Decks. So check it out. It's really fun. It's a fun discussion. Cool. 2 Trek experts and one who's only watched Lower Decks. Yep. And the first season of Discovery.
Oh.
Yeah. It's quite a good discussion, actually.
How embarrassing.
Fair enough. So shout out to Synthaholics. Go subscribe to them. And Dave Duncan, the head guy over there. So, yeah, he's been in the chat the whole time. He was under Dave Duncan, and then he went to the Synthaholics account to give us another like. So we really appreciate that as well. But anyway, I guess we're not going to get our $5 as a closeout, so that's okay.
But you guys have been awesome.
But you have been awesome, and I'm feeling my alcohol. God damn it. We're going to close this poll, by the way. 44 votes right now. How would you rate this season compared to other seasons? Best and okay are tied at 41%. And the worst of the 3 seasons at 18%. So you're all wrong, except for those 18% of the people here.
So we're an 18% minority. But given both of our votes are 48% casting, it'd actually be 96%.
True.
Yeah.
Math. Matt Boardman throws in that last $5. Thank you so much, Matt. Much appreciated. And that's a good way to end out. So thank you so much. Cheers to you, Norway. We will have a good Saturday.
Yes.
Bye, everybody. Till then, till next time. He's Commander Cockings.
He's kind of funny.